Chapter 788. In the Su family, the relationship between the head of the family, the second head, and the third head had always been bad. The other factions also had their own interests. The reason why the Su family could maintain a semblance of unity was purely because of the existence of the great-grandmother. If it weren't for the great-grandmother, the entire Su family would have been in chaos. It wasn't strange for such a situation to occur. First of all, in order to compete for cultivation resources, warriors would even scheme against their own brothers. Secondly, Su Wanfu's strength wasn't strong enough to suppress his two younger brothers. Could even be said that everyone was about the same. In this case, the two younger brothers were naturally dissatisfied. Moreover, it was said that in the Su family, the children of the second head and third head were extremely talented. On the contrary, Su Wanfu's only son and daughter were very weak. While Wang Zhong was thinking, the children went up one by one and began to take the test. Su Xiaohong, come up. Su Wei, it's your turn. Su Buyao, hurry up. The elder in charge of the test didn't even lift his eyelids. He held a booklet in his hand and shouted one by one. The children went up one after another. It could be seen that the children in front of the line were very talented. The light only flashed on the test wall for a moment and then disappeared. According to the people next to him, this could only be considered a low-level martial disciple. Finally, when a child named Su Buyao took the test, the light flashed twice. The elder in charge of the test nodded and said, "Not bad, you've reached the peak of the martial disciple realm. At your age, you're worthy of the Su family's training. Later, go to the front of the line." The child named Su Buyao was happy when he heard this. Of course, he knew what it meant to go to the front of the line. He was actually just an outer disciple of the Su family. If he could be trained by the Su family, he would definitely soar into the sky in the future. The next children's talents weren't very good. Occasionally, there would be one or two who were good, but they would attract the envy of a group of children who weren't very good. Su Liying was at the back of the line. She clenched her small hands tightly and looked at the test wall expectantly. She knew in her heart that her talent might not be very good, so she decided that she must test hard later. Finally, it was her turn. Su Liying decided that she must test hard. Even if she couldn't reach the intermediate level of the apprentice realm, she could at least reach the beginner level. She clenched her fists. Everyone in the audience watched this scene with rapt attention. It was because Su Liying's identity was too extraordinary. As the eldest daughter of the patriarch, her every move would be scrutinized. Su Liying moved. With a shout, she threw a punch at him. No light screen appeared. It was as if Su Liying didn't attack at all. The test wall didn't change at all. Everyone was stunned. Immediately after, the crowd was in an uproar. Some people couldn't help but whisper to each other. "It doesn't have a light screen. It's a piece of trash." "Isn't that so? To think that I was looking forward to it. I didn't expect that the patriarch's daughter is trash." "Trash, trash. That's it? I heard that many of the treasures in the Su family's storehouse were given to Su Liying to enjoy. I didn't expect that they would raise a good-for-nothing girl who doesn't even know how to cultivate. Sigh, if word gets out, my Su family will be ridiculed by the world." His voice wasn't loud. Su Liying and Su Wanfu naturally didn't hear it. However, Su Wanfu wasn't an idiot. From the way these people spoke, he could tell that what they were saying wasn't anything good. "Can I do it again?" Su Liying asked timidly. "Su Liying, aren't you ashamed? Get down." Su Wanfu's cold voice sounded. Su Liying's eyes immediately turned red. Since she was a child, her father had always treated her like a treasure. This was the first time her father had yelled at her. Tears welled up in her eyes. For a moment, she didn't know what to do. She stood motionless on the stage as if she was a fool. This scene caused some of Su Wanfu's enemies to sneer endlessly. "This Su Liying is trash." On the high platform, the second and third leaders looked at each other and smiled proudly. At this moment, Wang Zhong went up. "Miss, your test is complete. It's time to come down." Wang Zhong, who wasn't afraid of anyone's gaze, helped Su Liying down. Thank you. After getting off the stage, Su Liying came back to her senses. After that, the nanny came and sent Su Liying back. Wang Zhong didn't continue to watch the test this time. However, he heard that the children of the second and third leaders had good results. The two of them even mocked Su Wanfu a few times. The news that Su Liying was a good-for-nothing spread quickly throughout the city. Soon Wang Zhong found that Su Liying's treatment in the Su family had declined. First, she moved out of the former luxurious house and then moved to a remote small house. In terms of treatment, all the previous treatment was cancelled. Now she was only given some food and clothes. As for the servants, only the nanny and Wang Zhong followed her. The other servants avoided Su Liying like the plague. Even if they saw Su Liying, they didn't say anything. Even her great-grandmother, who used to dote on her the most, never came to her. Now, Su Liying seemed to have been completely banished into the cold palace and was not liked by anyone. Chenping, I might really not be wanted by anyone. In the blink of an eye, it was the end of the year again. Su Liying looked at the other children wearing new clothes, eating delicious food, and jumping out to play under the guidance of the adults. She could only stay in the house alone. Miss, I've cooked some meatballs for you. Have some. The nanny walked in and said. Su Liying's eyes reddened. I'm not a miss anymore. I'm just a useless good-for-nothing. To be honest, after a year of transformation, Su Liying, who had experienced the warmth and coldness of the world, had changed a lot. In the past, she was a spoiled and arrogant miss who would cause trouble at the slightest provocation. Now she had become taciturn. Wang Zhong felt that in a sense, Su Liying was actually quite good like this. This was a test for her. Miss, don't say that. The nanny sighed. Today is a festival. Be happy. After eating, I'll take you out to play. Su Liying shook her head and said, Forget it. I don't want to go out. If I go out, those people will talk about me behind my back. This. Nanny, let's not talk about it. Let's eat. Chenping, you eat too. I don't have any friends now, and I'm not a miss. I can only wrong you to eat these. Su Liying looked at Wang Zhong and said. Wang Zhong smiled and said, Miss, you're treating me like an outsider. Let's eat, let's eat. The nanny divided the meatballs into 3 portions. The 3 of them ate very happily. Everyone's faces were filled with excited smiles. 3 days later, another year of trials began. Just like last year, Su Liying was still at the bottom. Trash, she's really trash. Someone in the crowd sneered. Even so, she's still the miss of the Su family. Don't say that. She doesn't have any treatment anymore. Su Liying clenched her fists and walked down from the stage in a daze. In the past year, she had grown up and understood some mocking gazes. She could see the mockery in the crowd at a glance, and her heart was incomparably sad. Why is it like this? I'm trash, I'm trash. No one loves me and no one likes me. Su Liying cried and ran out. No one chased after her. They all avoided her as if she was the plague. There was no other way. In this world, strength was respected. If you had strength, everyone was willing to get close to you. If you didn't have strength, you would be overestimating yourself if you went against someone with talent. Naturally, no one was willing to deal with her. Wang Zhong sighed. He was worried about Su Liying, so he could only chase after her. Unexpectedly at this time, when Su Liying passed through the crowd, a girl named Su Wen suddenly stretched out her foot. Su Liying didn't pay attention and tripped. Ouch! Su Liying fell to the ground and swallowed a mouthful of mud. Everyone was stunned. Then they burst into laughter. Oh silly. Silly and cute, ha 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 ha. On the high platform, the second and third leaders waved their fans and chuckled. Only Su Wanfu clenched his fists. This was the result of not having strength. Without strength, everyone wanted to step on you. You deliberately tripped me. Su Liying cried and looked at Su Wen with tears in her eyes. Su Wen was the daughter of the second leader. Her talent was average, But she was at the peak of martial disciple. Therefore, although she was not very powerful, her status was not bad. Therefore, Su Wen arrogantly said, "Who deliberately tripped you? My foot was there. You bumped into it yourself. In the future, watch where you walk and don't always bump into things." "That's right. You don't have eyes, and you still have the face to say that," one of Su Wen's followers said disdainfully. "You bully people." Su Liying wiped her tears and ran out. She ran very fast and ran out of the house. As she ran, she cried, I'm trash, no one likes me, woo-woo." Su Liying quickly ran to a small river. Few people came here. She looked at the river and suddenly thought of death. "I might as well die." "Miss, you can't die." Wang Zhong walked behind her and said. Su Liying said bitterly, "I'm not a miss. I'm just a trash." "Don't say that. Everyone has their own opportunities. Everyone is useful. You're still young. Maybe you'll have a breakthrough in the future. Don't comfort me. It's useless. Chenping go. Let me die. Anyway, in this world no one likes me." Thinking of her father's disdainful eyes and her great-grandmother ignoring her, Su Liying was really desperate. She felt that there was no need for her to live in this world anymore. Finished. Su Liying ran towards the river. Wang Zhong's footsteps were like the wind as he quickly chased after her. In the blink of an eye, Wang Zhong rushed in front of Su Liying. With a light slap, Su Liying was sent flying. Ugh! Su Liying groaned and flew out, landing on the ground and creating a long gully. It hurts, it hurts." Su Liying covered her chest. Suddenly, she was stunned and looked at Wang Zhong in disbelief. You actually know martial arts. Who are you? Didn't you notice what martial arts I used?" Wang Zhong asked back. Su Liying thought for a moment and suddenly remembered that Wang Zhong's cultivation technique just now seemed to be their Su family's leg technique, called Golden Right Claw. The characteristic of this move was that both legs exerted force, suddenly running forward, and then swinging out the right claw, slapping the enemy away. Golden Right Claw, oh my god, you actually know this move. Su Liying remembered that this move was very difficult to learn. Only people in the middle stage of martial disciple could use this move. Wang Zhong said, "Yes, I know how to use it." "Don't tell me." "Yes, I'm a martial disciple." Wang Zhong did not intend to hide anything. These days, he had been following Su Liying, and he had memorized every move that Su Liying had practiced. Every time Su Liying went out, he would hide in the courtyard and practice every move. He could feel that his progress was not bad, but it was definitely not because of his good physique, but because of his previous understanding of many cultivation techniques. Although the qi of this world was different from the way he cultivated in the past. However, although the strength was different, the cultivation method was the same. Therefore, when Wang Zhong started, he could feel that it was very easy. There were many moves that were abnormally hard to understand for ordinary martial disciples. However, to Wang Zhong it was extremely simple. He could integrate and infer many things. Although the strength of his qi was low, he could use the moves to their strongest state. Therefore, Wang Zhong, who was only a martial disciple, had successfully used the Golden Right Claw. "How can you be so powerful?" Su Liying said in surprise. "When you usually cultivate, I've been watching you cultivate. When I'm alone, I'll train. Your talent is so powerful. You must be in the middle stage of martial disciple now. If only I could be as powerful as you. Actually, you can do it too. My talent is actually not good, but hard work can make up for it. Su Liying, I'll train with you in the future." Looking at Wang Zhong's gaze, Su Liying said worriedly, "But, no buts. Did you see the eyes of those who mocked you today? Those people just want you to fall. Even if you die, they will say that you are weak, that you are a real waste." Wang Zhong looked into Su Liying's eyes and said, "They said that I'm a waste." "That's right. Do you want them to say that?" "Of course I don't." Su Liying suddenly shouted at the top of her lungs. Her voice was very young, but her expression was especially angry. However, soon she thought that she was so weak and useless. She weakly lowered her head. But so what if I don't want to? I'm a waste. If you don't work hard, how will you know that you are a waste? In the future I'll train with you and make you stronger. At least let your opponents know that you are not weak. Your talent is just worse than theirs. I understand. Hearing Wang Zhong's words, Su Liying secretly nodded. Well, the training will start today. Then Wang Zhong made a golden right hand gesture. Let's start. From this day onwards, the two of them would come here early in the morning to train. Wang Zhong learned Su Liying's cultivation method, and Su Liying trained non-stop under Wang Zhong's supervision. Unfortunately, what made Wang Zhong helpless was that Su Liying's talent was really too bad. Another 2 years passed, and Su Liying still did not make any progress. At the age of 10, Su Liying was still at the bottom of the Su family's test. She became the most useless person in the history of the Su family. Chapter 789. Ha ha ha, 10 years old. This is the last test. From now on there will be no more tests. Looking at Su Liying's test results, the people below the stage mocked her. Let's see how the head of the family will deal with this. I heard that Su Liying's younger brother's cultivation is also very weak. It seems that the head of the family gave birth to a pair of trash. An elder whispered to another elder. The head of the family doesn't have a strong heir. I'm afraid he won't be able to sit on the head of the family. Yes, our Su family is going to change. I heard that the children of the second and third leaders have been selected by the sects outside. When they turn 14, they will be sent to the sects to cultivate. At that time, even if the head of the family doesn't abdicate, I'm afraid he will have to reconsider our great-grandmother. It's still strength. The children of the second and third leaders have the qualifications to become martial masters. Their futures are limitless. Su Liying left the stage discouraged. Although she was only 10 years old, she had already grown into a slender and elegant woman. She didn't stop and ran out amidst a wave of ridicule. Wang Zhong naturally hurriedly followed. This was the 4th time in a row. Every time she was tested to have a trash physique, Su Liying would run to the river to seek death. Qinping, you don't have to persuade me. This time I must die. When Wang Zhong ran to the river, half of Su Liying's body was already there. Her eyes were filled with tears as she shouted. 4 years ago, you said 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west, and 30 years in the west. You told me to persevere and not let those people who mocked me look down on me. But you know what? I've persevered for so many years, but it's useless. It's really useless. You're already at the peak of martial disciple, but I'm not even a martial disciple. Wang Zhong frowned and said, Come over first. Qinping, you don't have to say anything. Let me die. I'm destined to be an ordinary person in the future. In the Su family, you know the fate of ordinary people. I will only be an object. For marriage, I will marry an old man or even a disabled person, for marriage with other families. I have no freedom. Su Liying cried and wiped her tears. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Wang Zhong quickly ran towards Su Liying. Before Su Liying could react, she was pulled back by Wang Zhong. Su Liying still wanted to struggle, but Wang Zhong suddenly lifted her up. Seeing Su Liying keep moving, Wang Zhong slapped her. Don't move. How could you hit me there? Although Su Liying was still very young, she was at the age where she was protected by the law. However, she was, after all, a girl from a wealthy family. She learned from a young age, so she knew very well that men and women should not touch each other. Wang Zhong's expression was calm as he threw Su Liying onto the grass and said, Why did I hit you? You tell me why. Do you know that you're retarded? You still want to die like this? I look down on you. You should look down on me. I am indeed trash. Su Liying asked curiously, What's a retard? Means that his brain was caught in the door. His brain was caught in the door. Su Liying nodded and suddenly cried. You scolded me. Sure enough, even you ignored me. Are you stupid? If I ignored you, would I chase after you to save you? Do you know that many young masters and young ladies in the family secretly bribed me? They wanted me to find some embarrassing things about you to tell them. I said I didn't know. These days, there were indeed many people who bribed him. However, Wang Zhong naturally did not agree. Even the second-in-command's young master took out 100 taels of silver just to ask Su Liying if she was really a trash. However, Wang Zhong accepted the money. It was very simple. The other party's purpose was to suspect that Su Liying deliberately kept a low profile, so he asked her. To tell the truth, it was somewhat beneficial for Su Liying. At least, it would make others not pay attention to her. Therefore, Wang Zhong said that she was a trash. Then Wang Zhong told her about those people. After listening to Wang Zhong's various temptations, Su Liying's eyes reddened. She was extremely moved. Thank you. You are actually so considerate of me. However, why are you so good to me? When I was young, I even chased you away. Wang Zhong smiled. You already said that when we were young, I helped you because I didn't want to see you give up. Do you understand? Oh! Su Liying lowered her head. Suddenly, she seemed to have made up her mind. She held Wang Zhong's small hand and said, Chen Ping, let's go. Huh! Wang Zhong was stunned. I remember that when you first came, Father told you to leave after you were 14 years old. Let's leave early. I've thought about it. I'm a trash and you're a servant. We won't have any good days in this Su family. It's actually quite good to leave this place. When I was young, great-grandmother and some elders gave me a lot of treasures. I even secretly saved some money. Let's leave this place. We can live very well. Su Liying's small face suddenly turned red. She said embarrassedly, We can go to your house in the countryside. In the future you will plow the fields and I will knit clothes. What do you think? You know these things at such a young age. Wang Zhong was very surprised. Didn't you teach me this? I taught you. Wang Zhong originally wanted to say, I don't believe you. When did I teach you this? Unexpectedly, Su Liying continued. You told me stories at that time. Have you forgotten? The story of the cowherd and the weaver girl. Wang Zhong patted his head. He didn't expect that those myths and legends would leave such a deep impression on Su Liying. Now Wang Zhong's expression became strange. Could this be the legendary nurturing of a young girl? When I was young, I heard your story. I felt that their love story was really beautiful. Unfortunately, it was too bleak. This isn't good. But we're fine. Let's hide in a place where no one knows us and live peacefully for the rest of our lives. To be honest, Wang Zhong was prepared to agree. It was very simple. This game didn't give him any ambitious goals. He only had 2 goals. Work hard to become stronger and save the young lady. The former goal was simple. He just needed to work hard to become stronger. As for the latter, if he went to a place where they couldn't be seen, it could also be considered as saving her. At that time, he and Su Liying would be together, have a few fat children, and live peacefully for the rest of their lives. It seemed that the game was quite simple. Let's go. We'll pack up and leave tonight. We'll bring the nanny. Su Liying said, Don't worry about safety. Although I'm not a martial artist, I know some basic skills. Besides, you're also very powerful, okay? Wang Zhong was just about to agree when suddenly, a group of people ran quickly in the distance. Drive, drive, drive. Drive, drive, drive. Huh? Why is the escort team here? And it's actually led by Commander Ma. Wang Zhong was surprised. The escort team led by Commander Ma was the best and strongest escort team in the Su family. The missions they carried out were generally very important missions. Young lady. Commander Ma saw Su Liying from afar and shouted in surprise. Wang Zhong frowned. Why is Commander Ma in such a hurry? In the past, although Commander Ma was a guard because of his strength, his status was very high. Normally, he would ignore Su Liying. But now he had a face full of joy. After rushing over, he immediately dismounted and half knelt on the ground. Young lady, I've finally found you. Su Liying felt a little strange. In the past, Commander Ma didn't treat her well. What was going on today? Commander Ma, why are you looking for me? Su Liying asked. Commander Ma had a fawning expression on his face. Even the subordinates beside him were looking at Su Liying with scorching eyes. Young lady, the family head and the elders want you to go over. It seems that it's the orders of the Tianshan sect's great elder, Elder Moxin Cho. The Tianshan sect was one of the top sects in the imperial capital. There were many experts in the sect. It was said that there were experts that surpassed martial grandmasters in the sect. As for Elder Moxin Cho, it was said that he was a martial grandmaster expert. The entire Su family didn't have a single martial grandmaster. The strongest expert, great-grandmother, was only a peak martial grandmaster. One could imagine how important Moxin Cho's position was to the Su family. Wang Zhong naturally knew about Moxin Cho. This time, the Su family's great-grandmother was seriously ill. Moxin Cho and great-grandmother were close friends when they were young, so he came to visit her. It was also a good opportunity to participate in the Su family's annual trials. He didn't expect that Elder Moxin Cho wanted to see Su Liying. Why does Elder Moxin Cho want to see young lady? Wang Zhong asked. Perhaps it was because of the good relationship between Wang Zhong and Su Liying, but Commander Ma didn't get angry at Wang Zhong's question. He explained. Elder Moxin Cho said that he has a way to make young lady stronger. Wang Zhong understood. No wonder this group of people had a fawning expression when they came over. Obviously they knew something. Su Liying wasn't trash. Maybe Moxin Cho saw that Su Liying's body wasn't ordinary. Su Liying said, "All right, I'll go over." The group returned home covered in dust. When they entered the main gate, a large group of people was already waiting. Most of the people here had complicated expressions on their faces. Some were envious that Su Liying could be personally received by Elder Moxin Cho. Some were resentful that Su Liying had a chance to turn things around. There were even more fawning expressions, hoping that Su Liying would forget how they had bullied her before. All in all, there were all kinds of people here. In the main hall, Patriarch Su Wanfu's face was flushed red as he conversed with a woman with a head full of silver hair. Although this woman with a head full of silver hair was very old, her skin was smooth and supple. It was no worse than a young girl's. But there weren't many people here who found it strange. Because she was Heavenly Mountain Sect's great elder Moxin Cho. The higher one's strength, the longer one's lifespan. Correspondingly, the better one's skin would be. At this moment, Su Wanfu's face was flushed red. He was incomparably excited. Just now, after the clan's trial had ended, Elder Moxin Cho suddenly found him and said that Su Liying's body was special and could be modified. This shocked Su Wanfu. After hearing Moxin Cho's explanation, he finally understood why. Elder Moxin Cho had many disciples, but all of them had one thing in common. Their bodies were special. Previously, Su Liying's body didn't have any qi. To ordinary people she was trash. But Moxin Cho found that something was wrong. Su Liying's body was special. Ordinary people only had a dantian. Only after reaching the martial master level would the dantian form a golden core. But Su Liying's dantian already had a golden core. This was also the reason why there was no qi in her body. Because all of her qi had entered the golden core in her dantian. Without knowing how to use the golden core, she couldn't use qi. But once she learned it, Su Liying would be a genius, an expert, and an awesome person. Su Liying timidly walked in front of Moxin Cho. Moxin Cho had a faint smile on her face as she said, "Su Liying, don't be afraid. Come here." Su Liying walked over. Moxin Cho sensed for a moment. Indeed, she found a qi vortex on Su Liying's forehead. This was the sign of a golden core. Ordinary people couldn't see it. Only experts like her could sense it. "Elder Mo, how is it?" Su Wanfu asked nervously. Moxin Cho said happily, "Genius, genius, your Su family has a top genius." As soon as he said that, the hall became noisy. "Su Liying, I am the Heavenly Mountain Sect's Grand Elder," Moxin Cho. Are you willing to take me as your master? I can promise you that you will become a martial master before the age of 20. A martial master before the age of 20. This was shocking. After all, the Su family's patriarch, second master, and third master had only become martial masters in their 40s. After that, they couldn't advance any further. Even their great-grandmother was only a peak martial master. But Su Liying, a 20-year-old martial master, her future was limitless. Sooner or later, she would become a great martial master. In that moment, everyone's eyes turned red. Even Su Liying was stunned. Just a moment ago, she was thinking about eloping with Wang Zhong. The next moment she was a one-in-a-million genius, and a top genius at that. This. Su Liying, why aren't you kneeling and thanking your master? Su Wanfu winked. Subconsciously, Su Liying knelt down. Greetings, master. Your disciple will study hard and not let your teachings down. Sensible, cute, beautiful, and without arrogance, Su Liying was very likable. Moxin Cho nodded in satisfaction. Very good. Pack up. After the new year, I will take you to the Heavenly Mountain sect. Don't people usually go to the sect when they are 14? Su Liying suddenly thought of Wang Zhong. Was she leaving just like that? She felt that it was too fast, and she wasn't prepared at all. For ordinary people it is indeed 14. But you are not ordinary. Do you understand? I understand, master. At the door, Wang Zhong looked at this scene and felt very gratified. Su Liying had finally made a name for herself. After that, Su Liying was brought into the inner room to talk with Moxin Cho. Wang Zhong and the others were chased out. At night, the nanny specially added more dishes and brought 2 drumsticks. She gave them to Wang Zhong and said, "Great. Liying is a genius. She will go to the Heavenly Mountain sect soon. She will not be bullied in the future." Wang Zhong smiled. "Today is a happy day. I specially brought a drumstick from the kitchen for you." Wang Zhong was very touched. But when he looked at the seat that originally belonged to Su Liying, his heart felt a little empty. From now on, Su Liying would probably not come to eat with him. Chapter 790. To Wang Zhong's surprise, Su Liying came in after a while. There were a few servants who came with Su Liying. These servants followed behind Su Liying with flattering expressions. One had to know that these servants used to be snobbish and condescending. Especially one of the aunties. Once, the nanny stole a drumstick and was reported to the housekeeper. Fortunately, the housekeeper was not bad and nothing happened in the end. "Put down the food," Su Liying ordered. "Yes, Mississippi." Soon, the servants behind her put down a lot of food. There was a big white chicken, a big white goose, a delicious fish soup, and even a big piece of trotters. Just the smell was enough to make one's mouth water. "All of you can leave." Su Liying waved her hand at the people behind her. "Yes, Mississippi." The servants looked at Wang Zhong and the nanny enviously. They all knew that Wang Zhong and the nanny's good days were coming. As the saying went, when a man achieves the Tao, even his chickens and dogs ascend to heaven. Su Liying became a one-in-a-million genius, and even entered the Tianshan sect as the last disciple of the great elder. This position was not something that ordinary people could obtain. As the 2 closest servants to Su Liying, the nanny and Wang Zhong would naturally be valued because of Su Liying. After the servants left, Su Liying sat down. The nanny said fearfully, "Miss, why are you here for a meal? You've just received the recognition of Elder Imo. It's better to accompany her more." "I've been accompanying her for a long time. Moreover, it's mealtime now. Don't I usually come here for a meal?" Su Liying said. "This." The nanny was speechless. Wang Zhong said, "Then let's eat here. Miss, I'll use tea as wine to congratulate you." Wang Zhong's expression was a little complicated. Su Liying was about to leave. With her current qualifications, she would definitely soar to the sky in the future. It would probably be difficult to see her in the future. At this moment, Wang Zhong felt a little strange. According to the mission, Su Liying would encounter trouble in the future. Therefore, the mission was to save Su Liying. However, it seemed that there was no problem at the moment. As long as nothing unexpected happened, Su Liying would become a martial master in the future. Who would dare to provoke her? Facing Wang Zhong's gaze, Su Liying kept her head lowered. She did not dare to make contact with his gaze. After drinking the tea, she smiled. Let's eat. I got the kitchen to prepare a lot of delicious food. Su Liying gave Wang Zhong a duck leg. Jinping, eat more. You're still growing. You can't starve. You won't grow tall. I know. You should eat more too. Wang Zhong found it a little funny. In the past, he had always been the one to remind Su Liying. He didn't expect her to remind him now. The three of them enjoyed the meal very much, but Wang Zhong and Su Liying's hearts were empty. After the meal, the nanny cleaned up the bowls and chopsticks and took them out. Wang Zhong asked, "When are you leaving?" "After the New Year." "Oh, 7 days later." "Yeah, I thought I would leave after the age of 14. I didn't expect it to be so early." Su Liying said, "Actually, it's better to leave early. The cultivation resources in the Heavenly Mountain sect are more abundant. Moreover, the disciples of the same sect can spar with each other. You can become stronger. Do you think so too?" "Yeah, in short, congratulations." "Yeah, it's pretty good. But if I leave, you won't be able to secretly learn any cultivation techniques in the future." Su Liying suddenly smiled slyly at Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong said, "If I can't learn it, then I can't learn it. I've learned most of what you have." So that's why you've been following me." Su Liying snorted. I didn't expect you to be angry at me. But to be honest, you look pretty good when you're angry." Su Liying was stunned, and her little face turned red. Suddenly, she took off her clothes. Wang Zhong said in a daze, "Don't mess around." Su Liying frowned and said, "What mess around? Why are you suddenly taking off your clothes?" Wang Zhong said. He said that. Wang Zhong was very emotional in his heart. A little girl is indeed a little girl. She must have taken a fancy to me. At this time, she suddenly took off her clothes. She probably wanted to give herself to him before she left. But was he that kind of person? Thinking about it, of course he was. No way. He quickly reached out and buttoned up Su Liying's clothes and said seriously, "You're still young. We'll talk about it when you're older." "What are you talking about?" Su Liying slapped away Wang Zhong's greasy hand that was holding the duck leg and said angrily, "You bullied me and took advantage of me." It's not that you want to do that to me first. I'm doing it for your own good. Who wants to do that to you?" Su Liying was speechless. Then, she unbuttoned her clothes and took out a handwritten book from her chest. The handwriting on the handwritten book was crooked, but Wang Zhong immediately recognized that it was Su Liying's handwriting. I secretly copied it down," Su Liying said. "Originally, I wanted to elope with you. After we left this place, I wanted to give it to you to cultivate. It's the Su clan's most powerful technique, the destructive and withering divine art." So it's the crushing and withered divine art. Wang Zhong was surprised. After staying in the Su family for so long, Wang Zhong naturally knew about this divine art. It could be said that the crushing and withered divine art was the secret art of the Su family. It was said that this divine art was obtained by the ancestor of the Su family outside. At that time, the ancestor of the Su family was beaten until his meridians were all broken and he was seriously injured. After he fell into a cliff, he thought that he would definitely die. He didn't expect to find a skeleton next to him. Beside the skeleton was a book. It was the crushing and withered divine art. At that time he was already in despair. After reluctantly picking up the book, he crawled away from here and came to a cave. After that, he had nothing to do and learned that cultivation technique. Just like that, his cultivation became stronger and stronger. In the end, His meridians miraculously recovered. It was also because of this that the ancestor of the Su family cultivated to the peak of the martial Grandmaster realm. He was so powerful that he was invincible in this area. After that, he married the daughter of the sect master of a large sect. He started a family here and built up the Su family's current status. In fact, logically speaking, the crushing and withered divine art was so powerful that the Su family should have more experts appearing one after another. Unfortunately, after the ancestor of the Su family, the strongest person in the Su family was only at the peak of the martial Grandmaster realm. I secretly copied this book last time. It was originally for you. Now that I'm leaving, you can keep it. Su Liying stuffed the book into Wang Zhong's hands and said, "Let's go out. Master has just taught me how to use the power of the golden core. I can definitely defeat you." The two of them went to the courtyard. Su Liying's body emitted a huge amount of power. Wang Zhong raised his eyebrows. "You've already entered the martial warrior realm." This power was indeed very similar to the power of a martial warrior. Wang Zhong felt this power from the bodyguard. Then, Su Liying withdrew her power and returned to the feeling of a mortal. Su Liying said, "This is the benefit of the golden core. I can withdraw my power at will. To be honest, if Master didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known that I was so powerful." Looking at the ecstatic Su Liying, Wang Zhong was also sincerely happy for her. "Very good. I knew it. You must be very powerful. How about it? I was right. Back then you wanted to commit suicide. TSK. Fortunately you didn't die." Speaking of the past, Su Liying was also very emotional. She said, "Speaking of which, it's really all thanks to you. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid I would have been dead by now. Yes, the grass on your grave will be taller than mine." Su Liying suddenly laughed and glanced at Wang Zhong. "The grass on your grave will be taller. How dare you tease me? Let me tell you, I'm now a disciple of the Tianshan sect. Do you believe that I won't beat you up? Xinshin, you're amazing, okay? If I had known, I wouldn't have saved you at that time," Wang Zhong said. "Humph, then you regret it." "Yes, but it's fine. You finally left here. In the future, I won't be able to see you even if I want to." Wang Zhong laughed. After saying that, Su Liying sighed. "Yes, I'm leaving. But it's fine. Cultivate well. When you're 14 years old, try to become stronger. I'll take you to the Tianshan sect. You still thought of me. You're so polite." Wang Zhong laughed. "Course. I Su Liying value friendship the most." "Well then. Since you said so, I'll definitely work hard to cultivate." "It's a deal. It's a deal." The two looked at each other and smiled. In the next few days, Wang Zhong and Su Liying would spar in the courtyard. Their strength improved very quickly, especially Su Liying. She used her authority to get a lot of pills from the Su family's storehouse and secretly gave them to Wang Zhong. "Chen Ping, eat these secretly and increase your strength. As for me, I'm fine. I'll go to the Tianshan sect. The pills there are better and bigger. I'll be fine." Wang Zhong naturally accepted these pills without hesitation. 7 days later, Su Liying packed her things. Moexin Cho held her hand and brought her to the gate of the Su family. Countless people sent Su Liying off. One could imagine what Su Liying's status was like now. Su Liying, who had experienced the fickleness of human nature, was no longer as proud as when she was young. At this moment she was extremely low-key. She stood silently behind Moexin Cho and said goodbye to everyone. Wang Zhong just stood in the crowd. When Su Liying left, Su Liying didn't say anything to him. She just waved at him. It wasn't because she didn't say anything on purpose, but because she had already said what she needed to say. Soon the group got on the carriage and left. Su Liying left. After this, Wang Zhong and the nanny's status was not bad. This was because of Su Liying's status. Su Wanfu, the head of the Su family, was like the sun in the sky. The second and third heads didn't even dare to fart in front of him. It was very simple. If they dared to do anything, when Su Liying came back and saw her father being bullied, she would slap them in anger. They wouldn't dare to do anything to Su Liying. Going against Su Liying was going against the Tianshan sect. Who would dare? Wang Zhong didn't stay idle. During this time he began to study the crushing force skill. This skill wasn't a move, but a mental cultivation method. The so-called mental cultivation method was the cultivation of one's cultivation. When the time came, this mental cultivation method would be used together with other moves. At first glance, this mental cultivation method was indeed very domineering. After practicing it, one's qi would be strengthened. Once used, it would be able to release qi to the extreme. The later moves also had unique insights into the cultivation of aura, allowing Wang Zhong to benefit greatly from them. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. This year, Su Liying didn't come back, but there was exciting news from the outside world. In the short span of a year, Su Liying successfully entered the martial warrior realm and became one of the top 10 disciples under Moxin Cho. She also became the youngest martial warrior in the Tianshan sect and the most valued disciple. In the second year, Su Liying defeated Mo Xincho's third-ranked senior sister, shocking all the major sections. In the blink of an eye, Wang Zhong was 16 years old. After so many years, Su Liying never came back, and the news about her gradually decreased. This was because the Tianshan sect did it on purpose. After all, as one's strength increased, some martial artist's strength would be kept secret and not known by the outside world. This year, the nanny fell sick and was bedridden. During the new year, the nanny's health deteriorated day by day. Now, it was Wang Zhong who took care of the nanny's daily life. Looking at the nanny's emaciated face, Wang Zhong's heart ached. However, the nanny was very optimistic. "Chen Ping, I'm afraid I don't have much time left, but it doesn't matter. I'm already satisfied to be able to watch you grow up safely. In this life, although I have no children, you're like my own son. You're 16 and I can't do it anymore. When I die you can leave." The nanny said softly and sighed. "It's a pity that Liying hasn't come back for a long time. I don't know how she's doing." Speaking of Su Liying, Wang Zhong also felt emotional. Back then, their relationship was very good, and this girl even wanted to elope with him. But so many years had passed and things had changed. Perhaps the little girl back then had grown up. She already had her own values. When she thought about it, she would probably find her decision to elope laughable. This couldn't be helped. Girls would eventually grow up. "Oh right, Nanny, I heard today that Miss will come back for the new year." Wang Zhong recalled some of the things he overheard during the day. "What? Liying? Liying will come back. That's great." The nanny sighed and smiled. She lay down to rest. That night she slept very peacefully. Unfortunately, when Wang Zhong went to her room to deliver breakfast the next day, no one responded for a long time. When he opened the door, Wang Zhong was stunned. The nanny's body had long stiffened. She had already passed away in the middle of the night. "Nanny you." Looking at the nanny's corpse, Wang Zhong wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Although the nanny was dead, there was a faint smile on her face. Clearly, she had passed away very peacefully and comfortably. Perhaps, she was very relieved to know that Su Liying would come back. After that, Wang Zhong used his own private money to buy a small cemetery for the nanny and buried her in one of the Su family's cemeteries. After the nanny's death, only a few servants who were close to her came to visit her. After burning a little, other than that, it didn't cause any waves in the Su family. Half a month later, Su Liying finally returned. When he saw Su Liying again, Wang Zhong realized that she was really different. Chapter 791. Su Liying used to be a little girl. Even though she was called a good-for-nothing back then, she still had a youthful smile on her face. Now, not only had she grown taller, she was now about 1.7 meters tall. Her long hair reached her waist, and there was a long sword at her waist. Her red dress accentuated her unusual beauty. She no longer had the smile on her face. Instead, she was expressionless and even cold. When he entered her body, he could feel a cold feeling from afar. My daughter is back. Su Wanfu laughed when he saw Su lying. There was a boy around 12 or 13 years old beside him. He was Su Liying's younger brother, Su Zhengyan. Sister. Su Zhengyan rushed over. Over the years, Su Zhengyan's talent was not as good as hers, but he had reached the warrior realm. Brother. Su Liying nodded and said to Su Wanfu, Father. Then Su Liying greeted the elders one by one. The elders all had smiles on their faces. They were fawning, envious, and nodding their heads with a hint of fear. Su Liying flipped her hair and walked into the inner room with Su Wanfu and the others. Wang Zhong stayed with the group of servants. He was a little emotional. He did not expect Su Liying to be so cold now. If he was not familiar with her, he would not have recognized her. I didn't expect Miss to become so beautiful. After so many years she must be very powerful, right? A servant beside him said. Isn't that so? She's also very tall. Look at the two girls following her. They must be masters of the Tianshan sect, but they are serving Miss as maids. It seems that Miss has a high status in the Tianshan sect. Nonsense. Miss is so talented. She's a once-in-a-century genius. The Tianshan sect will naturally nurture her. By the way, Chen Ping, I remember that you were close to Miss when you were young. A servant with a protruding mouth and monkey-like cheeks smiled at Wang Zhong. Following which, he said in disappointment and frustration, What a pity. I'm afraid that the young mistress has already forgotten about you. Previously, these servants thought that Su Liying would take care of Wang Zhong, so they had been polite to Wang Zhong. Unfortunately, when he looked at her just now, it was just like that. Didn't he see that eldest young miss didn't even look at Wang Zhong? Wang Zhong naturally understood the meaning behind this person's words. He shook his head and said, Perhaps, but what does it matter if young miss has forgotten me or not? Of course it's related. Chen Ping, the treatment you get now is mostly because of your relationship with the first miss when you were young. Now that the first miss has forgotten about you, you're going to have a hard time in the future. This person was not on good terms with Wang Zhong. The reason was that they had a conflict over some small matters in the past. Therefore, he was very happy to see that Wang Zhong could no longer enjoy the same treatment as before. Unfortunately, Wang Zhong only looked at him coldly, as if he was looking at an idiot. Do you think I'm relying on young miss? Let me show you this first. Wang Zhong took out a sign with a large word engraved on it. Silver. Su Jian's bodyguard. In the Su family, the guards were divided into bronze guards, silver guards, and gold guards. The bronze guards were the gatekeepers and only knew some basic martial arts. However, the silver guards and above were different. The silver guards were at least at the peak of the martial disciple realm. In the future, they had the hope of becoming martial artists. Their status was completely different from the most ordinary servants. You. The servant was completely dumbfounded. How could you be a silver guard? You actually know martial arts. When did you learn it? Wang Zhong said, I learned it when I was young. By the way, young miss taught me. Do you have any objections? You. The servant was speechless. If he had any objections, he would be tired of living. How could he dare to be long-winded? In the future, be careful with your words. Wang Zhong patted the servant's shoulder. He was very strong. This was the strength of a cultivator. The huge strength caused the servant's shoulder to hurt, and he grimaced. Ouch, ouch. Humph. With a cold snort, Wang Zhong left. Wang Zhong didn't take these small fries seriously at all. He didn't pay attention to what Su Liying was doing. He went to the training field and began to train. By now, he had thoroughly studied many of the Su family's martial arts. However, he still couldn't figure out the annihilation divine art. This divine art was a mental cultivation method. It was indeed incomparably profound. At first glance it seemed very simple, but after cultivating it, it was obscure and difficult to understand. He forced himself to cultivate it, and now he was only an intermediate martial disciple. This was because he had memories of the past, so he had a deeper understanding of the martial arts. Otherwise, it would be even more difficult for ordinary people to cultivate it. In the entire Su family, only a few people in the upper echelons had learned the annihilation divine art. This made Wang Zhong feel more and more strange. Was this divine art really as powerful as the Su family's ancestors said? While he was thinking, the door of the training field suddenly opened. The first to enter were a few juniors of the Su family. These people didn't know the relationship between Wang Zhong and Su Liying. When they saw Wang Zhong, they frowned and said, "What are you doing here? Get lost immediately." A frown appeared on Wang Zhong's face. As a lowly guard, he should indeed be obedient. However, the words of these two juniors were a little too harsh. "Why aren't you leaving? Don't you know that the eldest miss is coming?" One of the juniors was extremely fierce. He came up and wanted to slap Wang Zhong. Naturally, Wang Zhong wouldn't wait for death. He reached out to block the other party's palm and punched him in the stomach. Puffed. The person was sent flying. His face was extremely pale. "Good, what a servant. How dare you hit me?" If word got out that he was beaten up by a guard in the family, he wouldn't be able to show his face in the future. "You're courting death. Just you wait." He turned his head and was about to go out to complain. However, just as he turned his head, he saw Su Liying and some elders walking in. "What's going on? Why are you so flustered?" An elder said unhappily. "Grandpa, you have to make a decision for me. A lowly servant actually dared to hit me." The person pointed his finger at Wang Zhong. He was ashamed and resentful. However, when the elder saw Wang Zhong, he had a bad feeling. Sure enough, Su Liying coldly said to Wang Zhong, "What's going on?" Wang Zhong explained the matter. Then he said, "I'm cultivating here. I don't hinder anyone. If you want me to leave, of course I can." However, he didn't distinguish between right and wrong. He came up and wanted to slap me in the face. Isn't he treating me like a human? But, just as the person was about to speak, the elder next to him kicked him. He secretly scolded his grandson for being a fool. Didn't he know that Chen Ping was the eldest Miss Playmate since she was young? Although Su Liying didn't show anything, he still had to give some face to her childhood playmate. Unfortunately, no matter how hard he winked, the person still didn't understand. He still boasted shamelessly, "Grandpa, why did you hit me? This is a dog servant. Get out." Before he could finish, Su Liying coldly shouted, "Ah!" The person was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Su Liying to scold him for a guard. Then 2 guards carried him out. They knew that this person wouldn't be valued in the future. "Thank you, eldest miss, for making a decision for me." Wang Zhong walked over. All of you can leave. I'll cultivate here alone." Su Liying only nodded slightly at Wang Zhong. Then she said coldly, "Yes." The group of people left. Naturally, Wang Zhong also walked out. When he left, Wang Zhong was still very emotional. He didn't expect Su Liying to become so cold in such a short time. At night, Wang Zhong went to the place where the wet nurse used to live. Her memorial tablet was placed here. Because the wet nurse took care of Su Liying when she was young, after the wet nurse died, the Su family remembered this friendship and left this place for Wang Zhong to place the wet nurse's memorial tablet here. Wet nurse, eldest miss is back. She's really different from before. She's much prettier, but she's a little cold. Wang Zhong rambled on for a while. Then he lit incense and prepared to rest. Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air came from outside the door. Who is it? Wang Zhong turned his head. It was so late. Who could be outside? Just as he was about to go out, he saw a beautiful figure descending. After taking a closer look, Wang Zhong couldn't help but cry out, "Eldest miss, why are you here? Lower your voice." Su Liying rolled her eyes at Wang Zhong. It's not good to be heard. This attitude was completely different from what he saw during the day. Then, Su Lying looked at the wet nurse's memorial tablet and sighed. She picked up the incense beside the tablet and said, "Wet nurse, I'm sorry I'm late." She began to light the incense with a respectful attitude. This made Wang Zhong sigh. If the wet nurse knew, she would be very gratified. At least, she still had a place in Su Lying's heart. When the wet nurse left, she didn't say anything, right? Su Lying asked after lighting the incense. She didn't say anything. She left very peacefully, Wang Zhong said honestly. That's good. Hearing this, Su Lying nodded slightly. How have you been recently? I'm sorry. Why are you sorry? I once promised you that I would take you to the Tianshan sect. However, because of some things it was delayed. What do you mean? In the Tianshan sect, although I have received the full support of the Tianshan sect, unfortunately, there are fights everywhere. I can't guarantee your safety after you go there, so I haven't let you go yet. Please understand. After speaking, Su Lying stuck out her tongue in embarrassment. Well, you don't mind, do you? Wang Zhong's expression was strange. Was this still the incomparably cold young miss? It turned out that he saw her during the day was all an act. She deliberately pretended to be cold, but in fact she was a clown. Of course I don't mind. However, if I'm there I might be able to help you. But those people are very strong, especially their identity and status. Even I am somewhat wary of them. I'm worried that if you go, what if they use you as a threat? Su Lying paced on the ground and said as she walked. Then just be stronger than them. Won't that be enough? Wang Zhong said. It's not that easy. Those people's status is not ordinary. How about I sneak into your team this time and go together? Think that works too. Su Lying beamed and said, You're really clever. You even thought of such a clever idea. Wang Zhong's expression was strange. Cough cough that. Young miss, I saw that you were quite serious during the day. Why are you now? Do you dislike me and think that I'm too serious? Su Lying said angrily. Oh no. Course not. Just strange. Su Lying sighed and said, I can't help it. I'm now the Tianshan sect's holy maiden. It's very tiring to be a holy maiden. I have to be serious in order to avoid being laughed at. I also can't eat carelessly, go out to play carelessly, and can't speak carelessly. Otherwise, it'll be easy for others to think badly of me. After all, as the holy maiden, I represent the Tianshan sect's face. Do you understand? Oh, I understand. Wang Zhong nodded. In other words, Su Lying was now incomparably cold and arrogant on the surface, but secretly she was a clown. Sure enough, she was the same as when she was young. As Su Lying spoke, she suddenly took out a few lotus leaves from the cloth bag she had brought. Wang Zhong's eyes lit up. Young miss, you're too good to me. You even brought me something. Su Lying rolled her eyes at Wang Zhong. You're dreaming. Here's some food. Normally, Master only allows me to eat immortal herbs and immortal valleys. I don't have any oil at all. Look at how thin I've become. Su Lying rolled up her sleeves and showed them to Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong's mouth twitched. Don't all girls like to be thin? That's true. But it's fine if I eat occasionally. At most, I'll practice my sword for a while. As she spoke, Su Lying's hands did not stop moving. She took out a lot of delicious food. Roast chicken, roast duck, roast fish, everything was available. She even brought out 2 bottles of wine. Wang Zhong sighed. You're drinking. Your master allows you to drink. She only allows me to drink the immortal wine she brews. She said that this wine won't make me drunk. After drinking it, it can improve my meridians. Wang Zhong nodded. Then I'll have to try it. As he spoke, he took a bottle of wine without hesitation. Su Lying snorted coldly. You're lucky. Tell me about the Heavenly Mountain sect. You're such a cute girl with good talent. You're also a saintess. How can you have enemies? Wang Zhong took a sip of wine and asked. Speaking of this, Su Liying sniffled and said angrily, "Some people think that I'm talented and are deliberately looking for trouble. Those people think that you took their opportunities. Something like that. Also, it's because I offended some people." "That's true. You need to change your temper." Su Liying raised her eyebrows. "You think I have a bad temper?" "Of course not. I just think that you're too kind. Sometimes people will climb all over your face. You can't be too low-key." Su Liying had such a low-key personality. Sometimes it was good to be low-key. However, if she was too low-key, people would think that she was easy to bully. Su Liying nodded as if she understood. After that, she continued to talk about those people, allowing Wang Zhong to gain a rough understanding of the situation. Although the Heavenly Mountain sect was big, the bigger the place, the more complicated the relationships between people. Su Liying did not let him go for his own good. In the blink of an eye, the year passed. To Wang Zhong's surprise, Su Liying disappeared this year. Chapter 792. What? The young lady is missing. Not long after the new year, the head of the Su family, Su Wanfu, received extremely serious news. Not long after Su Liying returned to the Tianshan sect, she was suddenly attacked when she went out to train. She was seriously injured and then disappeared. Had been more than a week. Because it was too far away, the news only came from the Tianshan sect today. "My daughter is missing." Su Wanfu slammed the table. "Who dares to touch my daughter?" "Guards." "Master." The butler ran in. "Arrange for people to go to the Tianshan sect to help find my daughter." "Alright, let great-grandmother go too." "But great-grandmother is old. I'm afraid she can't go." Su Wanfu's face was ugly. "Got it. I'll go personally." That day, Su Wanfu prepared his men and went to the Tianshan sect. Go, go. Su Wanfu left with his men. As soon as he left, the second and third masters of the Su family became restless. As soon as Su Wanfu left, they immediately joined forces and began to control some of the Su family's businesses. Wang Zhong saw all of this, but as a small guard, he couldn't change anything. In fact, he originally wanted to go with Su Wanfu, but when he received the news, Su Wanfu and his group had already left the Su family. He didn't know the route, so he could only wait at home. Su Wanfu was gone for half a year. Half a year later, Su Wanfu returned with half of his men and horses, looking as if he had lost his soul. Wang Zhong finally received the news. Su Liying couldn't be found, and the Tianshan sect was suppressed by the enemy. Countless masters of the sect were killed or injured. Now they were struggling at death's door. The disciples in the sect either fled or ran away. In the blink of an eye, the Tianshan sect went from a second-rate sect to a small sect. With Su Liying's disappearance, Su Wanfu's status plummeted. It was very simple. Such a big family valued ability and talent. If you couldn't bring benefits to the family, you were useless. Therefore, at the end of the year, the second and third masters began to make trouble. Now, the second master's son and daughter were taken in by other sections. The third master's son and daughter benefited from the introduction of the second master's son and daughter, and also entered a big sect. All of a sudden, the status of these two people in the Su family rose. At the end of the year, great-grandmother, who had one foot in the grave, finally announced that Su Wanfu would abdicate and that the second-in-command, Su Ziqian, would take over as the head of the family. Su Wanfu was a hot-tempered person to begin with. When he heard this news, he slammed the table and turned hostile on the spot. Su Wanfu didn't expect Su Ziqian to come up with 2 punches. Su Wanfu was immediately knocked to the ground, unable to fight back at all. From this, it could be seen that Su Wanfu's strength was already inferior to Su Ziqian's. After that, Su Wanfu completely lost his power. Not only him, but even his son Su Jingyan's cultivation resources were also deducted. In the second year they were not distributed at all. The reason was that their talents were too weak, and giving them these cultivation resources would be a waste. Su Wanfu was very angry, but there was nothing he could do. Originally, Wang Zhong thought that the other party would not do anything. Unexpectedly, when he was 19 years old, his great-grandmother finally died of illness. With the death of his great-grandmother, no one could suppress the second-in-command, Su Ziqian. Soon, Su Wanfu's faction was suppressed. Even Wang Zhong had started to be targeted by people. The reason was very simple. Everyone knew that Wang Zhong and Su Liying were close. Since that was the case, they naturally wouldn't be polite to Wang Zhong. That night, Wang Zhong found Su Wanfu and prepared to leave the Su family. "Uncle Su, I'm ready to leave." Wang Zhong had a lot of luggage with him, all of which were food and clothes. After finding Su Wanfu, he explained the purpose of his visit. "Tell me the place where young miss went missing. It'll be easier for me to find her." Su Wanfu looked at Wang Zhong excitedly. "Are you really going? That place is extremely dangerous, and there are many strong people there. Back then, even I lost a lot of people there. It's better to go than not. No matter how many strong people there are, they won't kill people casually, right?" Wang Zhong said. "When the time comes, I'll just keep a low profile." Good. "Chen Ping, I didn't expect you to be on our side at the last moment." Su Wanfu was very gratified. Then he drew a map and handed it to Wang Zhong. After Wang Zhong put it away, Su Wanfu said solemnly, "To be honest, I'm also planning to leave here. When the time comes, we'll go together." "Uncle Su, why do you want to leave too?" Wang Zhong was puzzled. "After great-grandmother died, my two brothers became more and more overboard. If I stay here, I'll only be bullied, so I plan to leave. When the time comes, I'll bring a few of my subordinates with me. We'll go to the imperial capital together and look for Liying." "Okay." Just as they were talking, the door was suddenly kicked open. A group of people walked in, led by the current head of the Su family, Su Ziqian. Beside Su Ziqian was the third head, Su Wanyong. Su Ziqian smiled faintly and shouted, "Men, arrest my big brother and this slave." "Su Ziqian, what do you want?" Su Wanfu's expression changed. Su Ziqian said, "Big brother, I know about your matter. You stole the family's treasures and pills and want to leave here, right?" "These things are all mine." Su Wanfu said. "Yours? I heard that you secretly brought people to steal things from the warehouse." "Who said that? How dare you frame me?" Su Ziqian waved his hand and a dark-skinned man was brought forward. "Chen Fu, speak." This Chen Fu was Su Wanfu's previous housekeeper. He took care of the Su family's affairs for Su Wanfu. Chen Fu had obviously been beaten up. He walked forward timidly and said, I saw Master Su Wanfu enter the Su family's warehouse last night and steal things." Su Wanfu's expression changed greatly. "Chen Fu, you dare frame me?" Chen Fu lowered his head, not daring to speak. Wang Zhong suddenly realized that Su Ziqian and Su Wanyong were indeed ruthless. Even at this point, they still wanted to kill Su Wanfu. Su Ziqian said, "Big brother, surrender. I promise I'll spare your life." "Haha, Su Ziqian, if I surrender, I'm afraid I'll be crippled by you immediately. Get out of the way. At most, I don't want those treasures. Let me leave." Su Ziqian shook his head slightly. "If that's the case, how can I convince the masses in the future?" He said that. Su Ziqian reached out his hand and prepared to make a move. Su Wanfu took the lead and shouted, "Chen Ping, you run first." Wang Zhong did not stand on ceremony. His strength was low, so he naturally ran first. He then rushed out of the window. Unexpectedly, a few bodyguards had been waiting for a long time. They rushed forward and blocked Wang Zhong's path. These people's strength was about the same as Wang Zhong's. Although Wang Zhong's skills were much stronger than theirs, it was still difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. In the blink of an eye, he was at a disadvantage and was beaten to the ground. As for Su Wanfu, after barely blocking a few moves, his chest was smashed by Su Ziqian's palm. He fell to the ground, his life and death unknown. "Bring them all to the cell." Su Zetian said. Yes. Wang Zhong clutched his chest and was dragged by 2 guards to the Su family's underground prison. This was a place that belonged to the Su family. There was only one entrance and exit, and there was no sunlight all year round. It was dark and damp, emitting a moldy smell. At this moment, Wang Zhong was very anxious and did not know what to do. Strength, I'm still too weak. Although I've been cultivating diligently, my talent is too weak. Wang Zhong sighed with emotion, clenching his fists tightly. He felt somewhat helpless. After that, Wang Zhong noticed that there were quite a few people imprisoned here. Most of them were from Su Wanfu's faction. Other than that, there were some disobedient people from the Su family. When these people were locked up, they had obviously been beaten up. Their bodies were covered in wounds, and many of them had even fainted. All of you behave yourselves. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. The fiendish guard said fiercely as he locked the door and left. In the following days, Wang Zhong and these people were locked up and never allowed to leave. Although he had lost his freedom, Wang Zhong never gave up on leaving this place. He had been looking for a way to leave this place. He did not neglect his cultivation either. During the day, he secretly sat down cross-legged and cultivated the unstoppable divine technique. At night, he practiced martial arts alone in the prison. At the same time, he was also thinking about a detail in this game. According to the mission prompt, the Su family would be in a big crisis. This might be what it was referring to. In this crisis, he would obtain the Su family's biggest secret. This game is a little strange. It's as if they knew this would happen. But how did I get the Su family's secret? Wang Zhong was not a person who would sit and wait for death. Unable to figure it out, he observed the guards' resting time and decided to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning. I must leave as soon as possible. Many people have died here. At night again, Wang Zhong said to Su Wanfu, who was staying next to him. At this time, Su Wanfu was extremely weak. He said seriously, I have less than 10% of my strength left. Jinping, you are still young. You must find a way to leave. Wang Zhong touched the chains on the prison cell and nodded slightly. He had already thought of a plan. Later he would pretend to have a stomachache and let the guard in. As soon as the guard came in, he would launch a sneak attack. However, before the plan could be carried out, the entrance in front of him suddenly opened and a group of guards walked in. The guards carried Su Wanfu out. Wang Zhong quickly asked, Where are you taking him? The guard said coldly, Since you have said so, I will tell you. Eldest young master has returned from the power sect and taught us a set of vigorous fist. In the future you will be our training tools. What do you mean? Su Wanfu asked, but the guard stopped talking and took him out. Soon Su Wanfu's screams came from outside. When they came back, Su Wanfu was on the verge of death. Jinping, you must find a way to leave. Su Wanfu's energy center had been shattered and he gradually lost his breath on the spot. Su Wanfu had actually been beaten to death. I don't want to die. Not far away, Su Wanfu's son Su Zhengyan was so scared that he wet himself. Wang Zhong furrowed his brows. He didn't expect that things would suddenly become so complicated. Originally, he had overheard that eldest young Master Su Can had returned recently, and many guards were transferred to protect him. This was a good time to sneak out. However, from the noise outside, it seemed that someone was training outside. Damn it, they moved the martial arts field here. Wang Zhong had a headache. It was impossible to carry out the plan. Early the next morning, Su Zhengyan was dragged out. Let's go, eldest young master wants to personally demonstrate the moves of the vigorous fist. You are in luck, ha ha ha. A few guards laughed and dragged Su Zhengyan out. Wang Zhong was also driven out by the guards. Hurry up, damn it. If you anger eldest young master, you will have to bear the consequences. At this moment the sky was still dark and it was a little cold outside. It seemed that the weather was turning to autumn. This was the first time in a long time that Wang Zhong came out. He suddenly felt that the air outside was very delicious. If it were not for the group of fierce people standing in front of him, this would be a very beautiful place. Unfortunately, there were too many corpses. Not far away, there were at least 7 corpses piled up. Wang Zhong's eyesight was good. He could see that the corpses were all beaten until their bones were broken. A few of them even had their heads caved in. Soon Wang Zhong, Su Jingyan, and 3 other people who were brought out came in front of dozens of Su family disciples in black robes. These Su family disciples all looked exceptionally valiant. They stood in a row and sneered as they looked at Wang Zhong and the others. Physique cultivators. Looking at the state of these people, Wang Zhong could tell at a glance that they were all physique cultivators. Thinking about it, Wang Zhong had heard that the Su family's eldest son, Su Can, had been chosen by the power sect and became an inner disciple. The power sect was a mid-level sect. The disciples in the sect were all physique cultivators. Their brute strength could split mountains and rocks. They were very powerful. It seems that Su Can really brought the physique cultivation method to the Su family. Does the power sect not care? Wang Zhong secretly guessed. Just as he was wondering why they were brought here and what was going on with the corpses, a servant shouted in a duck-like voice, "The eldest son is here." The group of Su family disciples all stood up straight to welcome Su Can. Wang Zhong looked over and narrowed his eyes. Su Can, the eldest son of the current Su family head, Su Ziqian. In the past, this person had shown some talent in martial arts. If not for Su Liying's appearance, Su Can would definitely be the first in the Su family's younger generation. After Su Liying's rise, Su Can left the Su family and went out to train. It was obvious that this Su Can, whether it was his temperament or personality, was very calm. When dealing with enemies, when the enemy was strong, he would quietly lie dormant, waiting for a fatal blow at any time. Su Can stood in front of Su Jingyan and looked at the former eldest son. Su Can smiled and said, "Brother Zhengyan, long time no see. You've lost a lot of weight. Su Can, let me go. My father was killed by you, my sister is missing. Please let me go. I'm still a member of the Su family." Su Jingyan was actually begging for mercy. At the same time, the group of prisoners behind him also knelt and begged Su Can to let them go. Only Wang Zhong was still standing there, looking at Su Can calmly. This made Su Can interested. He said, "I remember you. When you were young you often played with Sister Liying. When I asked you about Sister Liying, you refused to tell me even when I gave you money. You're really loyal." Chapter 793. Faced with Su Can's question, Wang Zhong replied calmly, "Strictly speaking, I'm not a member of the Su family. Su Liying and I are just friends. No matter what your relationship is, I'll give you one condition. Be my slave and I'll let you go." Su Can looked at Wang Zhong and smiled. He enjoyed seeing his former enemy kneeling in front of him and begging for mercy. It gave him a comfortable sense of accomplishment. Unfortunately, he was destined to fail. Wang Zhong shook his head. "Then you'll be disappointed." To Wang Zhong, he would just restart the game if he died. He would not kneel and become a slave. What made Wang Zhong speechless was that Su Jingyan actually hugged Su Can's leg. "I'll be your slave. Me go." Wang Zhong closed his eyes. This kid was spoiled when he was young. He had no backbone. Bang. Su Can kicked Su Jingyan away and pointed at Wang Zhong. "Good, you've got guts. I like people with guts like you. Don't worry, I won't kill you so quickly. I'll torture you slowly. Ha ha ha." Su Can's tone suddenly changed as he shouted to the group of Su family disciples. "Next, I'll show you the true secret art of the strength sect. The last form of the strength fist, penetrating fist. The most important thing to learn this fist technique is to familiarize yourself with the human body. These slaves of the Su family are the best targets to practice on." At this moment Wang Zhong understood. Everything was clear. Letting them live was not because the Su family was being merciful, but because they were targets to practice on. The human body was complex. If one wanted to improve the technique quickly, it would take a long time to learn it. However, if one used it to practice, the improvement would be fast. One could learn the weaknesses of the human body and the meridians through practice. In the future, one would be able to use it freely when facing an enemy. Su Can suddenly pointed at Su Zhengyan. "I'll choose you." Su Zhengyan's expression changed and he knelt on the spot. "No, no, let me go." Su Can didn't listen at all. After the numerous Su family disciples pushed him away, he clenched his hands into fists and assumed the stance of the vigorous fist. His right hand clenched into a fist, and a faint white light flashed over it. Su Zhengyan kept begging Su Can for mercy. He even said that he wanted to be Su Can's dog. However, Su Zhengyan didn't know that the softer you were to Su Can, the more he despised you. On the contrary, he would only value you if you were as tough as Wang Zhong. Su Zhengyan was too young to know that. He kept retreating in the face of Su Can's fists. Vigorous fist. Su Can moved his feet and punched out. He was actually a few meters away from Su Zhengyan, but the wind generated by his punch directly penetrated Su Zhengyan's chest. Poos! Su Zhengyan's stomach cracked like a watermelon. Then, Su Zhengyan flew out and landed on the ground, motionless. That punch ended Su Zhengyan's life right away. Eldest young master is amazing. He's amazing. That's the power of the vigorous fist. If only I could learn it. Su Zhengyan was dead, but the others didn't care. Instead, they were all amazed by the power of Su Can's move. Many of them began to flatter Su Can. Su Can was also very satisfied with his punch. He smiled and looked at Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong furrowed his brows. If this punch landed on his body, he would definitely die. "Hee, you seem to be a little stronger than Su Zhengyan. Can tell. Let's see how strong you are." Su Can walked in front of Wang Zhong and patted Wang Zhong's shoulder slightly. Then he punched Wang Zhong in the stomach. The punch was obviously not as powerful as before, but it still made Wang Zhong take a few steps back. Thud, thud, thud. Wang Zhong took a few steps back. He suddenly tasted something sweet and spat out a mouthful of blood. This person is indeed powerful. Even a casual punch is so powerful. Wang Zhong was secretly surprised. Fortunately, Su Can didn't want to end Wang Zhong just like that. He waved his hand and ordered the disciples to use the slaves for training. Then there were wails and screams in the field. Wang Zhong was targeted by a burly man. He rubbed his fists and punched Wang Zhong in the ribs. Bang, bang, bang. Wang Zhong's hands were tied behind his back and he couldn't move at all. He could only be trampled on. Just like that. He endured one punch after another until his face was covered in blood. Finally, night fell. The group of people were thrown into the dungeon with injuries all over their bodies. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Wang Zhong felt the injuries on his body and felt excruciating pain. He had never experienced such injuries before. "This is medicine for your injuries. Use it yourself." A guard threw a cloth bag and turned to leave. To the Su family, although the slaves were worse than dogs, they were still very useful as human punching bags. Naturally, they wouldn't let Wang Zhong and the others die casually. Wang Zhong didn't throw away the medicine. He opened the cloth bag and began to apply the medicine. This medicine wasn't anything good. It could only relieve the pain and slightly speed up the recovery of the injuries. However, it wasn't enough for Wang Zhong's serious injuries. However, there wasn't anything good at the moment. He could only make do. "If this goes on, I will be beaten to death," Wang Zhong thought as he applied the medicine. He urgently wanted to leave this place. However, there were more guards than before. How could he leave? It was impossible. After thinking about it, he looked at his ribs. It could be seen that his ribs were definitely broken, so it was very painful. What should I do now? Wang Zhong clenched his fists. He could still endure the flesh wounds. However, if it was the bones, it would be troublesome. After thinking about it, Wang Zhong decided to leave tonight. Although he might die, there was no other way. Compared to staying here and being beaten to death, it was better to leave early. After making up his mind, Wang Zhong began to pretend to be asleep. He began to cultivate the crushing decay divine technique, calming himself down. However, after cultivating for a while, his eyes focused. Something's wrong. Wang Zhong touched his ribs. He felt that when he cultivated the destructive divine skill, his broken ribs seemed to be healing rapidly. This divine skill seems to be healing my injuries. Wang Zhong was stunned. He immediately realized that he seemed to have found something extraordinary. The Su family's biggest secret is probably this destructive divine skill. Wang Zhong was overjoyed. He recalled that Su Liying had told him that this unstoppable divine technique was the strongest technique in the Su family. This skill was extremely powerful. However, the strange thing was that other than the Su family's ancestor who was able to cultivate to the martial grandmaster level, none of the other Su family members had been able to cultivate it. Why was that? After thinking about it carefully, it was simple. The Su family's ancestor was able to cultivate it successfully because the situation was similar to his. Both of them were seriously injured. In other words, in order to cultivate the destructive divine skill, one's body must be seriously injured. This was the so-called without destruction, there can be no construction. No wonder the previous Su family members were unable to cultivate it successfully. They lived a life of luxury. How could they suffer this kind of hardship? I was able to cultivate it because of a great opportunity. Wang Zhong was overjoyed and began to concentrate on cultivating. The destructive divine skill began to operate. He felt that there were small tadpoles circulating throughout his body. Wherever these small tadpoles passed, his injuries quickly began to heal. Even his ribs were healing quickly. Furthermore, Wang Zhong discovered that the healed parts of his body had become stronger. This discovery made Wang Zhong overjoyed. I understand. Every time I heal, my body's strength will be strengthened. This huge discovery made Wang Zhong stunned. This was because he quickly realized how powerful this cultivation technique was. Every time his body was damaged, it was a strengthening. At this moment, Wang Zhong suddenly didn't want to leave. Didn't these people want to use him as a human punching bag? Come on, attack me with all your might. Every attack is a tempering for me. Soon, the injuries on his body were almost healed. However, as his injuries healed, Wang Zhong felt unusually hungry. This was the after effect of cultivation. At this moment, a mouse quickly crawled past. There were many mice and cockroaches in this dungeon. Wang Zhong's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He quickly grabbed the mouse and started to eat. Although it was a bit dirty, it could quickly fill his stomach. Now, food was the capital for Wang Zhong to quickly recover. After eating the mouse, Wang Zhong ate all the cockroaches on the ground. Fortunately, it was dark now. The servants on the side didn't see this scene. Otherwise, they would have thought that Wang Zhong was crazy. In the morning, just like yesterday, after Wang Zhong and others ate breakfast, they were taken out. The disciples of the Su family had long been cultivating outside. They were very hard-working in their cultivation. Their upper bodies were bare as they attacked the boulders one after another. The boulders were hard. Every time they attacked them, the boulders would make a roaring sound. Hey, hey, hey. The violent sound of practicing martial arts frightened the servants into a panic. They all understood why they were taken out. It was very simple. They were treated as human punching bags and beaten. No, let me go. I don't want to die, don't be beaten. Let me go, I am willing to do anything. No one paid attention to these voices. In other words, a servant's life was not comparable to a dog's. The Su family's disciples sneered. Each of them was assigned a servant to prepare for training. The guard captain, Su Liqui, with his hands behind his back, shouted, "When you attack these servants, remember their vital points and weaknesses. Only in this way can you be prepared when facing the enemy in the future. Do you understand? Understood. Very good. Whoever is the first to kill this servant will be rewarded with a great strength pill. The guard captain's words made the Sioux family's disciples' eyes red. Strength pill. This was a good thing that the eldest young master brought from the strength sect. After eating one, their strength would double. In the future, they would definitely stand out among their peers. Although the Sioux family's disciples were excited, the opposite servants' faces were green. One by one, they cried for their parents and begged to be let go. Among these servants, perhaps only Wang Zhong didn't take these things to heart. Instead, he was faintly excited. Let the attacks come more fiercely. Let the attacks come in greater numbers. Every tempering is a form of growth for me. At this moment, the person standing in front of Wang Zhong was a short man. However, this short man was abnormally robust, especially his fists, which were completely black. It was very obvious that this person was proficient in fist techniques, and his fists had been trained to be incomparably hard. I want to finish you with one punch. The short man clenched his fists and stretched his neck. He was very excited. The vigorous pill, I must get it. By the way, Chin Ping, I know you. You used to have a good relationship with Miss Su Lying. Unfortunately, the wheel of fortune has changed. Now, you have actually become a servant. Wang Zhong shrugged. You talk too much nonsense. Hurry up and fight, don't tell me you didn't eat enough breakfast. Wang Zhong's words made the short man's face change. Courting death, remember, my name is Su Xing. I will kill you. With that, Su Xing attacked. Seeing Su Xing angry, Wang Zhong was excited. The harder the other party hit, the better. It was a good opportunity to test his strength. Finally, the other party attacked. He was like a wild wolf, quickly leaping over, but his footwork was obviously not methodical. He was just running over randomly. Bang! This punch landed solidly on Wang Zhong's chest. Thump, thump, thump. Wang Zhong took a few steps back. His ribs hurt. He knew that his ribs were indeed broken by this attack. Sure enough, this person's fists were really hard. Wang Zhong thought to himself. However, he quickly began to circulate the crushing force technique in his body. Traces of warmth flowed through his body like small tadpoles. This crushing force technique is really domineering. It is worthy of being the top divine technique of the Sioux family. In just a short while, Wang Zhong's ribs had mostly recovered, and the pain had also disappeared. Now, the strength of his ribs was even harder and stronger than before. Therefore, Wang Zhong quickly crawled to his feet. He smiled very happily. He stared at Su Xing and said, "Your fists are too tender. You really haven't eaten." Su Xing's expression changed. He had used 100% of his strength in that punch. After all, with the reward of the vigorous pill, he didn't hold back at all. However, this guy actually didn't fall after such a blow. Damn, his body's defense was so strong. You're courting death. Su Xing was furious. He rushed over and threw a few more punches, followed by a few more kicks. Wang Zhong was like a human sandbag, allowing him to kick and hit as he wished. Bang! Once again, Wang Zhong landed on the ground. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and was very excited. Because his injuries were recovering rapidly, he could guarantee that he would be fully recovered in 3 minutes. However, this time he didn't stand up. It was very simple. If he could still stand up after being beaten like this, it would be too conspicuous. He wasn't strong enough to be unbeatable yet, so he wanted to keep a low profile. Su Xing finally smiled. Get up. You can't get up, right? Wang Zhong vomited blood. He didn't seem to be in a good condition. But in fact, in such a short period of time, his injuries had almost healed. Wang Zhong was beaten like this, not to mention the other servants. They were all beaten to the point of crying for their parents. A few of them were even beaten to death. Take them down. Su Liqui waved his hand. As he spoke, he looked at Wang Zhong and raised his eyebrows. This kid is actually still breathing. Su Xing, did your technique deteriorate? After a few days of fighting, they found that too many servants had died. Some people were worried that if they continued to die like this, there would be no one left, so they put on some defensive equipment to reduce the death rate. Wang Zhong, on the other hand, had no one to let him wear it. This was specially ordered by Su Xing. He wanted to ruthlessly beat Wang Zhong to death. Come and hit me. Although I was injured yesterday, I'm not afraid of being hit by you. Wang Zhong continued to provoke Su Xing. Su Xing roared. Just you wait. He rushed forward and attacked again. Pang pang pang. Wang Zhong kept groaning. Finally he fell to the ground again. The next day Wang Zhong roared again. Kill me if you can. Ah! Su Xing used all his strength and attacked with all his might. This time the attack lasted much longer than the last time. Wang Zhong flew out and fell to the ground. It was unknown whether he was alive or dead. What made Su Xing depressed was that Wang Zhong recovered on the third day. After that, the people who practiced martial arts rested for a few days. A week later they started training again. Pang pang pang. Countless attacks fell on Wang Zhong's body. Wang Zhong found that Su Xing's attacks could no longer cause any damage to him. Did you not eat? Harder, harder, I can take it. Weak, you're too weak. Wang Zhong shouted. He was not going to hide anything. Now that he wanted to leave, no one could stop him. But he did not leave. Very simple, he was waiting. He was waiting for the Su family's eldest young master, Su Can, to come, kill him and then leave. Su Can's death would be a heavy blow to the Su family. For more than a month, Wang Zhong was beaten up almost every day. On the surface it looked like he was seriously injured, but in reality he was fine. Some disciples were only curious about Wang Zhong's recovery ability, but that was it. No one would investigate the physical condition of a servant. Now Wang Zhong found a very important problem. That was, these servants' attacks were no longer effective. If Su Can still doesn't come, I'll have to find him myself. Wang Zhong thought to himself. To his surprise, 3 days later, news came that Su Can had left the Su family and went to the power sect. Hearing this news, Wang Zhong sighed. It seemed that he was one step too late. But soon more news came. Su Can's younger brother, Su Ji, had returned. He would show everyone another secret technique of the power sect. Su Can and Su Ji were half-brothers. However, Su Ji was very sensible and listened to Su Can's words since he was young. Therefore, the relationship between the two brothers was not bad. Usually, Su Can would take care of Su Ji. Is Su Ji coming? Wang Zhong sat in the prison and listened to the conversation of the guards. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly. If that guy really comes, I can make a move. If I can't kill Su Can, I'll kill Su Ji first and collect interest. After making up his mind, Wang Zhong began to recuperate. He planned to kill Su Ji first, then go to the Su family to kill a few people to collect interest. After that, he would leave this place and go to the imperial capital. Su Liying went missing in the imperial capital. There must be news of her. On the other hand, almost all the major sects in the country were gathered there, including the power sect. Find Su Can who was going to the power sect and get rid of him. This was Wang Zhong's next plan. That night, Wang Zhong almost didn't sleep because he knew that tomorrow would be the day the Su family would pay with blood. The next day, Su Ji came early in the morning. As the second young master of the Su family, Su Ji could be said to be in high spirits. Today, in addition to teaching the power sect, he also took the time to check on the training of the Su family's disciples. Now that he had entered the martial soldier realm, his strength was not bad in this place. Therefore he was very arrogant. He raised his head and looked at Wang Zhong's group of servants and said indifferently, "Why are you all covered in scars?" In reply to the second young master, "These servants are beaten every day, so most of them are injured." "Well, they're too weak. Look, they can't live. Kill them all. Anyway, soon there will be a group of servants coming. Yes. Hearing this, the group of servants suddenly panicked. Second young master, spare my life, spare my life. Don't kill me, woo-woo. Ha! Suji suddenly noticed Wang Zhong. Because among so many people, only Wang Zhong was expressionless and did not show any signs of fear. Most importantly, he was in good condition and did not seem to be injured at all. He just looked dirty. What's your name? Chen Ping. Wang Zhong said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Chen Ping. Suji suddenly remembered. You're the one who was close to Su Lying when she was young. Yes, what can I do for you? Wang Zhong said. Ha ha ha, you don't seem to be afraid of me. Wang Zhong said. Yes, because I realized that your Su family people don't seem to have enough to eat after beating me. Wang Zhong's blunt words made Suji's eyes narrow. Damn it, you're courting death. I'll beat you up. Su Xing, who had been hitting Wang Zhong, walked out. Unexpectedly, Suji directly threw a slap at Su Xing, hitting Su Xing until Su Xing saw stars. Second young master, you. Su Xing's face was full of disbelief. He did not understand why the second young master suddenly hit him. Useless thing, you didn't hurt him at all after beating him for so long. You're really useless. In the future you'll go to the mining team. The Su family's mining team was the most difficult and tiring job. Going there meant that there was no future. Su Xing's face turned pale and he quickly begged for mercy. But Su Ji did not care about a villain. He shook his fist and rushed toward Wang Zhong without saying a word. Vigorous fist. With a light shout, he punched Wang Zhong in the stomach. Wang Zhong puffed out his chest and took the blow head-on. Wang Zhong, who was expected to fly backward, did not fly out at all. Instead, he stood still in the same place. This made Su Ji stunned and somewhat in disbelief. Patting his chest, Wang Zhong replied with an indifferent look on his face. How boring. Can you use more strength? Damn it. Su Ji was furious. He increased his strength and punched. Bang bang. After 2 consecutive punches, Su Ji thought to himself that it would be strange if you didn't die. In fact, Wang Zhong was still motionless. Over the past few days, Wang Zhong's body's resistance to pressure had reached an extremely terrifying state. Not only did Su Ji's attack not injure Wang Zhong in the slightest, it even created quite a bit of warmth in his body, causing Wang Zhong to feel incomparably comfortable. This feeling was really too good. It was simply the best way to train him. If it were not for the fact that these people were weak and could not cause any damage to him, Wang Zhong would probably want to stay here for a while longer. Su Ji was stunned. Even the group of people at the side began to whisper to each other. Su Ji felt humiliated. He was the second young master, and now he could not even beat a servant. Wouldn't it be a joke if this spread out? In an instant, he went crazy and rushed in front of Wang Zhong, punching and kicking, swearing that he would beat Wang Zhong to the ground. He even had the intention to kill. Only by using Wang Zhong's blood could he wash away his humiliation. Kicks, punches, slashes. Countless fierce attacks rained down like raindrops. Wang Zhong was still using the Su family's top-secret technique, the crushing rotten cultivation method. This cultivation method was really magical. So many attacks that were fatal to ordinary people, when they landed on Wang Zhong's body, they all turned into strength that improved his body's constitution. Unfortunately, the Su family did not know this. In fact, it was indeed so. The Su family had been passed down for so many years. Although this cultivation method had always been mysterious, other than the Su family's ancestor, no one had ever reached the martial grandmaster realm. Over time, many people raised doubts. They felt that the ancestor had relied on his own talent to reach the martial grandmaster realm. Because of this, the Su family's descendants were not very enthusiastic about cultivating this cultivation method. Haha, good. The second young master is indeed the second young master. I feel so good when you hit me. The strength of your attacks is much stronger than those dogs of yours. Come, 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 use more strength. Too light, too light. Did you not eat? Use your strongest attack. Don't be afraid to kill me. Your attacks are too weak for me. Ha ha ha. Wang Zhong continued to provoke Su Ji. Su Ji's attitude gradually changed from anger to disbelief, and then to doubt himself, and finally to fear. That's right, he was afraid of Wang Zhong. Think about it. Wang Zhong did not even fight back, and he was already unable to do anything to Wang Zhong. If Wang Zhong made a move, how could he survive? More importantly, Wang Zhong's gaze. It was a mocking and contemptuous gaze. What did this gaze mean? It was obvious that he was mocking him. Everything he was doing now was to play with him. This guy was not afraid of him at all. Thinking of this, Su Ji steeled his heart and suddenly took out a medicine bottle. Wang Zhong narrowed his eyes. After being in the Su family for so long, he naturally knew some people's personalities. If the eldest young master, Su Kan, belonged to the arrogant and condescending type, then Su Ji was a sinister and vicious villain. The thing he took out at this time was definitely not something good. Therefore, the moment he took it out, Wang Zhong became alert. He was not going to hold back anymore. At this critical moment, Wang Zhong moved and arrived in front of Su Ji. I've been beating you for so long. Now let's change. Wang Zhong punched out with his vigorous fist. That's right, he was using the vigorous fist. After being beaten with the vigorous fist for so long, Wang Zhong had already grasped the essence of it. Right now, he was giving them a taste of their own medicine. Bang! One punch. Su Ji's chest exploded with a sound like beans being fried. Then his whole body flew out. In the blink of an eye, Wang Zhong pulled Su Ji back and laughed. You want to run? I won't let you. Stay here today. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Bang bang. Another two vigorous fists. However, in Su Ji's body, there were several explosive sounds. Finally, Su Ji fell to the ground. He was not going to live. Second young master. Second young master is dead. The whole place was silent. Who would have thought that the servant Chen Ping, who had been beaten up all this time, would explode with such strength? This bastard dared to kill the second young master. Men, take him down. When the guard captain Su Liqui arrived, it was too late. When he saw that the second young master's eyes had turned white, he roared and rushed over. Su Liqui's strength was not weak either. However, he was about the same as the second young master. At this moment, he was so angry that he ignored the gap between him and Wang Zhong. What responded to him was naturally Wang Zhong's iron fist. The terrifying strength made Su Liqui's expression change. What made him more desperate was that his attack was like a tickle to Wang Zhong. It had no effect at all. Weak, too weak. The terrifying strength poured into Wang Zhong's body. Then he punched out. Chapter 795. Su Liqui flew out and smashed into the ground. He wanted to stand up and continue fighting, but he felt a pain in his chest and blood spurted out. What a powerful move! Su Liqui was shocked. If this guy were to start a massacre, no one here would be able to stop him. Go back and report to the family. Su Liqui quickly shouted. Go and shout. Today I will start a massacre. Wang Zhong narrowed his eyes and quickly flashed over. He looked at Su Liqui and stepped on him. Su Liqui died. You got off too easy. Wang Zhong shook his head. Su Liqui had abused the servants many times. Now that he was killed so easily, it was indeed too easy for him. Go, kill him! The others hurriedly shouted. However, most of them knew that their strength was low, so they turned around and ran, preparing to report the situation to the Su family. Die! Wang Zhong looked at the few people who usually liked to flaunt their strength and were abnormally arrogant. He used all of his methods and beat them until they screamed miserably. In the blink of an eye, there were only corpses left in the large field. Most of the Su family disciples had fled. Only a few servants were left standing. They trembled as they looked at Wang Zhong. "Let's all leave this place." Wang Zhong untied their ropes and said. The servants knelt down and thanked him before leaving one by one. "Next, it's time to collect the interest." Wang Zhong looked at the direction where the Su family came from. At this moment, a figure rushed out of the forest. The third head of the Su family, Su Wanyong. Su Wanyong was on his way here to see how Su Ji's martial arts was. He did not expect that halfway through, a few guards would run over in a panic and say that Su Ji was dead. This matter was big. He shook off a group of servants and rushed over. After seeing Wang Zhong, Su Wanyong's eyes turned green. "It's you, you little thief." "Su Wanyong, I wanted to find you personally, but since you came here yourself, that's good." Su Wanyong's strength was not high. He was only a beginner martial master. It was only because he was close to the second master, Su Zitian, that he was able to gain some status in the Su family. However, even though he was a beginner martial master, Wang Zhong was still a martial warrior. There was a difference of a major realm between the two. The others would probably have long run away at this time. But Wang Zhong didn't run. It was very simple. Since the other party was so powerful, he could use his strength to temper himself. "Humph, do you think that you can threaten me just because you're a martial soldier?" Su Wanyong could see that Wang Zhong was now in the martial soldier realm. Otherwise, Su Ji and Su Liqui would not have died at his hands. He clasped his hands behind his back and said, "You evil remnant. Back then, eldest young master found you interesting, so he spared your life. I didn't expect to raise a tiger and invite calamity. Today, I will get rid of you and hang your head in front of my Su family's door to let others know the price of offending my Su family." Su Wanyong held a long sword in his hand, looking majestic. As soon as he finished speaking, he attacked Wang Zhong. Although he was very strong now, Wang Zhong knew his own limits, and that was that he probably still couldn't take on weapons head-on. Therefore, he quickly dodged the long sword. Su Wanyong snorted and kicked him. Faced with this kick, Wang Zhong naturally didn't dodge. Instead, he took the blow head-on and flew out. After landing, Wang Zhong spat out a mouthful of blood. The martial master realm was indeed terrifying. However, to Wang Zhong, this blow only made him look very weak on the surface. In fact, as he circulated the destruction technique, his injuries were rapidly recovering. Soon, not only was he not injured, but his defense had also increased by a level. "I'm probably at the peak of a martial warrior now. This destruction technique is indeed magical. No wonder the Su family's ancestor could advance to a martial grandmaster." While Wang Zhong was deep in thought, Su Wanyong did not know what he was thinking. He only felt that Wang Zhong would not be able to take more than 3 moves from him in this state. He wanted to cripple him and torture him. Su Wanyong thought very well, so he quickly rushed over. Bang bang. 2 more punches. Wang Zhong forced himself to endure. However, when faced with Su Wanyong's sword, he naturally dodged immediately. In fact, in order to keep Wang Zhong alive so that he could torture him, Su Wanyong did not use a fatal move with his sword. However, he did not expect that after a few rounds, Wang Zhong only looked like he was about to die. But his movements were not restricted at all. Moreover, he felt that Wang Zhong's aura was gradually rising. Martial artists might be able to hide their strength and aura during normal times, but when it came to the end of a fight, it was absolutely impossible to hide one's aura. Therefore, Su Wanyong could feel that Wang Zhong's aura was getting stronger as he fought. This was scary. After fighting for so long, his strength had long been weakened by at least 60%. But his opponent was completely fine. "I understand. You must have had a fortuitous encounter during this period, right?" Su Wanyong's eyes were like torches. "No wonder you didn't lose weight in this dungeon and even advanced. You must have had a fortuitous encounter." Su Wanyong punched out and quickly retreated a few steps. He stopped and continued. How about this? As long as you tell me about your fortuitous encounter, I can guarantee that you will marry my daughter. Not only that, but I will also make you the second young master of the Su family. You killed Su Ji and Su Liqui, and I will let bygones be bygones. This was a very good gift. One could imagine how bold Su Wanyong was. Unfortunately, Wang Zhong sneered. What a joke. You make it sound like you're giving me a lot of benefits. I wouldn't want your fat daughter even if you gave her to me. Kid, you're courting death. Fine, since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being rude. Su Wanyong was really angry. However, he didn't plan to kill Wang Zhong now because he was sure that Wang Zhong had the secret to becoming stronger. As long as he got it, he would definitely have a breakthrough. At that time, he might even be able to enter the martial grandmaster realm. At the thought of this, his heart burned with passion. He impatiently rushed over and prepared to break Wang Zhong's legs. Then, he would take him to a remote place and slowly interrogate him. His plan was very good, but he didn't expect that in such a short time, Wang Zhong had almost recovered. Not only that, his strength had increased by another level. This time, Su Wanyong was fighting very strenuously. Wang Zhong didn't plan to hold back. A long time had passed and the Su family's main force had definitely arrived. He could deal with one or two experts, but if a large group of people came, it would be troublesome. Vigorous fist. Just like before, Wang Zhong took the opportunity and punched out. Bang! Su Wanyong had already exhausted too much energy. He was caught off guard and was stunned by the punch. Ooh! Su Wanyong spat out blood and looked aghast. So strong! He didn't dare to stay and turned to run. Wang Zhong laughed. Want to run? It's too late. A moment later, Su Wanyong's chest was shattered and he fell to the ground. In the valley not far away, thick smoke billowed. It was obvious that a large force was rushing here. Looks like the Su family is here. Wang Zhong looked at the dungeon below, shook his head and rushed down. He came in front of a few pillars and punched a few times. A few cracks appeared on the pillars. If there were any more heavy objects on the ground, this place would collapse. Goodbye, dungeon. After returning to the surface, Wang Zhong turned around to look behind him before leaving. A moment later, the Su family's main force finally arrived. Looking at the corpses all over the ground, as well as the corpses of Su Ji, Su Wanyong, and the others, the head of the family, Su Ziqian, was furious. Chen Ping, my Su family is absolutely irreconcilable with you. As soon as he finished speaking, the ground suddenly collapsed. It turned out that with so many troops coming, the load-bearing pillars of the dungeon were already overwhelmed, so the entire ground collapsed. Countless people were thrown off their feet. Su Ziqian's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast, flying away at the first moment. Looking at the miserable state of his subordinates, Su Ziqian was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. How could he not know that this was definitely Chen Ping's masterpiece? For the sake of delaying their search for him, the dungeon collapsed. Many of the Su family's people should be injured. I'm afraid they won't be able to catch me. At this moment, Wang Zhong was shuttling through the forest. The Su family's address was located in a small town where the Su family had many eyes and ears. He would definitely not run there. Instead, he was preparing to pass through the forest and head to a large city. At that time, he would head in the direction of the imperial capital to find the Tianshan sect where Su Liang had once stayed. I wonder how the Tianshan sect is now. Wang Zhong thought in his heart. As he had not traveled far since he was young, Wang Zhong was not very familiar with this place. At night he finally saw a light. There should be a village there, and many people were cooking. Wang Zhong touched his stomach. He was indeed very hungry. It couldn't be helped. Although the crushing decay technique was useful, it consumed a lot of energy. In a short period of time, Wang Zhong felt very hungry and urgently wanted to eat something. Fortunately, he had some silver on him. This was what he had found on Su Ji, Su Liqui, and the others before he left. There was a lot of silver, which was enough for him to spend on the way. Following the light, he finally arrived at the village. This village was inside the forest. Sheepskin and wolf pelts were hung on the door of every house. Obviously, the villagers of this village made a living by hunting. There were not many residents here, only a dozen or so. Because it was evening, every family had a fire in their house and was preparing food on the stove. Wang Zhong walked over. It just so happened that an old woman was hanging water from the well in one of the houses. After noticing Wang Zhong, she said in surprise, "Young man, where are you from? I've never seen you before." "Granny, I'm just passing by. I want to ask for a bowl of water," Wang Zhong said politely. Okay. The old woman was kind. She took out the water from the well and poured some for Wang Zhong. "Drink it." "Thank you, Granny." Wang Zhong smiled and said, "They're all cooking." As he spoke, Wang Zhong looked around and thought about buying some food to eat. He was so hungry that he couldn't take it anymore. "Yes, young man, why are you running around outside so late? There are wolves in the forest. They come out at night to eat people. You have to go to the city ahead. It's several kilometers away." Wang Zhong said, "I got lost. Fortunately, I saw the lights here at night, so I came here." "I see. You're not a bandit on the mountain, are you?" At this moment, a cold voice came. Wang Zhong looked in the direction of the voice. It was a man in his 40s who spoke. His eyes flashed with shrewdness and he continued, "I see that you're young. You're running around in the forest for no reason. You must be inquiring about the news of our village. Let me tell you, I'm a martial soldier. If you want to attack my village, there's no way." Wang Zhong was speechless. It seemed that the law and order of this place was not very peaceful. He was mistaken for a bandit spy just by walking around. "Luo Zheng, don't talk nonsense. I see that this young man is travel-worn. He should be passing by." The old woman said kindly, "Humph, then why is there blood on his body? He must have killed someone." Luo Zheng pointed at the blood on Wang Zhong's body. Although Wang Zhong washed the blood on his body by the river before coming here, there was still a lot of blood. Facing the accusation, Wang Zhong did not panic. "I'm really passing by. As for the blood on my body, it's from some bad people." "You killed someone." Luo Zheng glared at Wang Zhong. He had already determined that Wang Zhong was not a good person. When the two of them were talking, other villagers gathered around and looked at Wang Zhong vigilantly. Some of the more radical villagers even held some axes and hoes and stared at Wang Zhong covetously. "Is this person a bandit? Damn, last time he robbed so many of our people and all our food. Now he wants to come again. The people in the neighboring village are all dead. It's all done by those damn bandits." The villagers' words made Wang Zhong understand. No wonder they suspected that he was not a good person. It turned out that this place was deeply persecuted by bandits. "Everyone, I'm really just passing by. Since you don't believe me, I'll leave immediately. However, before I leave, can you give me something to eat?" Wang Zhong said calmly. Following which, he took out a few pieces of silver and said, "I'll have to trouble everyone." Seeing that Wang Zhong was so forthright, some people believed him. He's definitely not a bandit. These days, bandits won't be so straightforward. Indeed, everyone look at the silver coins. This is new silver coins. Usually only rich people use it. A sharp-eyed person said. Being said like this, Luo Zheng believed him a little. "You're really passing by, but what are you doing here?" "I'm here to look for my family." Wang Zhong casually found a reason. "To be honest, it's so late. It's not good for you to leave. How about this, stay at my house for the time being?" Luo Zheng suddenly said. After confirming that Wang Zhong was not in danger, Luo Zheng's attitude became much more polite. "Then I'll have to trouble you." At this time, Wang Zhong was tired and thirsty. He did not want to run anymore. Then Wang Zhong went to Luo Zheng's house. Luo Zheng's family of 5 had a mother, a wife, a son, and a daughter. The family was very happy. There was a guest at home. Luo Zheng generously prepared a lot of food for Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong handed over the silver coins. Unexpectedly, Luo Zheng waved his hand and said, "Little brother, since you're a guest at my house, why are you giving me silver coins? Are you looking down on me, Luo Zheng?" "Big brother Luo, I didn't mean that. I just received a favor. Don't say more. I won't accept these." Seeing that Luo Zhang insisted, Wang Zhong could only put away the silver coins. He thought in his heart that when he left, he would leave the silver coins. After eating, Luo Zhang took his son and daughter to the door to practice martial arts. Wang Zhong also saw that this man claimed to be a martial soldier. In fact, he was just a martial disciple. He was not even a martial warrior. The reason why he said that was to scare Wang Zhong. At this moment, a fire suddenly appeared not far away. "Not good, a lot of people are coming here." The young man who was on night watch in front ran back and shouted. Chapter 796. "Oh no, a lot of people are coming here," shouted the lad who was on night watch. Upon hearing that, Luo Zhang turned his head and glared at Wang Zhong. "There's indeed something wrong with you. Did you lead those people here?" Wang Zhong said, "Brother Luo, think about it. If there was something wrong with me, I would have met up with them by now. Why would I be standing here fighting the enemy with you?" "That's right. Father, that group of people must have slaughtered the bandits next door. These people are getting bolder. They even dare to come down the mountain. Aren't they afraid that the authorities will wipe them out?" shouted Luo Zheng's son. At that moment, the neighbors ran over, each holding a broadsword. "Brother Luo, there seem to be more than 50 people coming. This is troublesome. What should we do? There's no time to report this to the authorities." Luo Zheng said, "It's useless. I went out to sell animal skins yesterday. I heard that this group of bandits is related to the Yamen." "What? How is that possible?" "Humph, the current county magistrate is in his 80s. I heard that he's obsessed with immortality. A few days ago, a Taoist priest came to the city and said that he could grant him immortality. Then no one knows what he did. Not long after, bandits appeared. That doesn't seem to be related, right?" someone questioned. Luo Zheng said, "Apart from robbing, that group of bandits also captured young boys and girls. Some say that they were captured to refine medicine for the Taoist priest. Let's not talk about that for now. Those people are coming. Don't worry. They have a lot of people. We are already prepared." Following that, Wang Zhong saw that the village was surrounded by a bamboo fence. There were only 2 entrances. Some people were holding bows and arrows ready to shoot. Soon, a large group of horses arrived at the entrance. These people had their faces covered by black cloth as they stared coldly. He did not say a word and waved his hand. The group of people behind him charged in with sabers. "Release the arrows." Seeing that the other party did not speak, Luo Zheng immediately shouted. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Arrows were shot out one after another, and quite a number of people fell to the ground. However, there were too many of them. Soon someone rushed in. "Let's fight." Luo Zheng was ready to risk his life. "Where's that lad?" At that moment, someone noticed that Wang Zhong had disappeared. "Don't bother about him. He probably ran away after seeing so many people." Someone sighed. He did not blame Wang Zhong for leaving. After all, the current situation was extremely dangerous. As an outsider, it was normal for him to leave. Why did that brat run out? At this time, someone noticed that Wang Zhong had unknowingly run outside. He saw that Wang Zhong had picked up a broadsword from somewhere and was charging towards the leader of the enemy. This person's face was covered and he was sitting on a horse. Naturally, he saw Wang Zhong charging over. "Ignorant brat, how dare you attack me?" This person snorted coldly, showing great disdain towards Wang Zhong's arrival. How dare a kid who hasn't even grown his hair? Just as he was thinking, Wang Zhong increased his speed and arrived in front of this person in a flash. Under his constant training, Wang Zhong's strength had become much stronger than before. Although he was only in the martial soldier realm, compared to many great masters in the martial mentor realm, he was not weak at all. The person on the horse did not even manage to resist for a moment before he was cut in half. What's going on? Big brother, how are you? Wang Zhong said. I'm already cut in half. What do you think? As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Zhong swept over again. Even the big brother of this group of people was no match for Wang Zhong, not to mention the rest. They were all killed in one move. Many people behind them were killed. The people who rushed in also panicked. They did not know whether to advance or retreat. Soon they were taken down by the villagers. In the blink of an eye, the remaining 7 or 8 people squatted on the ground with their hands on their heads, not daring to speak. Beak, who sent you? Luo Zhang kicked over a bandit and shouted. This person was so scared that he could not move. He could only say, It's that master. Which master? Wang Zhong asked. I don't dare to say. Everyone present was terrified and didn't dare to say a word. Wang Zhong raised his knife and chopped off the head of the most ruthless person who had just fought. He continued to ask, If you don't speak, you will end up like this person. Everyone's body trembled, inexplicably terrified. Even Luo Zhang and the others were extremely surprised. They did not expect that Wang Zhong, who looked amiable, would be so ruthless. It was really hard to tell. However, Wang Zhong's actions were indeed very effective. Immediately the person who was threatened spoke. It's the dentist. Dentist? Who is he? Wang Zhong asked. He's an expert from the Outlands. He's a grandmaster and has a good relationship with Magistrate Lu. Magistrate Lu is very old and wants to live forever. After the dentist came, Magistrate Lu somehow became acquainted with him. The dentist told Magistrate Lu that his medicinal pills could extend his life by 50 years. We were originally just bandits in the mountains, but Magistrate Lu ordered us to capture young boys and girls for the dentist to refine medicine. In return, we were to keep all the money we stole. They only wanted the people. Our boss, he agreed. Sir, we were forced to do this. Our boss did all of this to us. We didn't want to. Wang Zhong ignored their pleas and looked at Luo Zhang. Luo Zhang's face was very serious. It seems that the rumors you said before were true, Wang Zhong said. Luo Zhang nodded. I never would have guessed that Magistrate Lu would do such a thing. In order to live forever, he didn't hesitate to harm the innocent. He even resorted to murder. I must kill him. Chen Shui looked at the person squatting on the ground and asked, Let me ask you, what's the level of the dentist? I'm not sure. But according to his 2 disciples, he's at the peak of the martial warrior realm. Peak of the martial warrior realm. Wang Zhong heard this and felt that there was hope. This dentist was obviously an evil practitioner who specialized in alchemy. Finding him was not only to rid the world of evil, but also to get some medicinal pills on him. Now that he was outside, it would be good if he could find some good things to cultivate. Alright, if you want to live, take me there. After a while, Wang Zhong was led by a bandit to the dentist's residence. The county magistrate had specially prepared a remote courtyard for him to use for alchemy. This is the place. It was late at night. The bandit brought Wang Zhong to the house and said, I'll leave first. You promised to let me go. Pucci. Wang Zhong didn't say anything and finished off the bandit with a single slash. Then he hurriedly rushed in. Dentist, bad news. Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open and a strong smell of medicine came out of the house. A man with his back facing Wang Zhong walked in. In front of him was a huge medicine cauldron. Didn't I tell you not to disturb me when I'm alchemy? How dare you disobey? Wang Zhong cursed at the bandit for not making things clear. He quickly said, "Dentist, I have something to report. It's like this. Just now we were ordered to go to a village to help you capture someone, but we didn't expect to meet an enemy there. The others were either dead or injured. I tried my best to escape so that I could inform you." The dentist turned around. He was an old man with a face full of wrinkles and white eyes. It was obvious that in order to prolong his life, he had turned himself into an old monster. All of a sudden, a strange smile appeared on his face. With a wave of his hand, a puff of white mist shot towards Wang Zhong. "Haha, stop pretending. My subordinates usually don't even dare to enter when they come to report. Yet you actually came in directly. It looks like you've killed all my subordinates." The white fog came too quickly. Wang Zhong was caught off guard and was hit by it. Suddenly, a sense of powerlessness came over him. Plop. Wang Zhong half knelt on the ground. He felt extremely vexed. He had made a mistake. He wanted to pretend to be one of his subordinates and attack the dentist when he wasn't paying attention. He didn't expect the dentist to see through him and get poisoned. Wang Zhong didn't know what kind of poison it was, but his body really didn't have any strength left. The dentist stood up and looked at Wang Zhong with a smile. "Although you're a little old, I can see that you're still a virgin. Just right, I need someone like you to be a catalyst for my medicine. Then I'll choose you. If you can become my human pill, even if you die, it'll be worth it." Wang Zhong didn't have any strength left, but he still had the ability to think. He was extremely regretful. He didn't expect that he would be refined into a human pill. But it's okay, I can restart my life. In the next life, I won't die so miserably. At this time, Wang Zhong was finally dragged to the front of the cauldron. This cauldron had been used for many years. It was black from head to toe, and there was a raging fire burning under it. The rich medicinal fragrance came from this cauldron. "Kid, are you afraid?" The dentist smiled. "Afraid of death? Bah." When the dentist wasn't paying attention, Wang Zhong spat a mouthful of phlegm on the dentist's face. The dentist was stunned. Wiping away the thick phlegm on his face, he said angrily, "Ha ha ha, good, this is the first time I've seen someone with such guts. I hope you won't regret it." Bang! He slammed his palm on Wang Zhong's chest. At this moment, Wang Zhong was weak and couldn't use any strength. This palm directly smashed his chest into pieces. Bang 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 bang. The dentist didn't stop. In order to vent his anger, the dentist broke Wang Zhong's limbs and shattered his internal organs. However, in order to prevent Wang Zhong from dying, he even thoughtfully fed Wang Zhong a life-saving pill. "Hee, you feel much better now, don't you?" Wang Zhong opened his mouth but did not say anything. However, he continued to circulate the unstoppable decay divine art. Wang Zhong did not want to give up until the very last moment. Unfortunately, in the next moment, Wang Zhong was in complete despair. He was thrown into the cauldron. The scalding medicinal liquid scalded Wang Zhong's skin and flesh. Ah! It was too painful. It was so painful that Wang Zhong felt that this was the most painful torture in the world. Boom! At the same time within the cauldron, a fierce flame rose and burned. Wang Zhong's clothes were instantly burned to ashes. "It's over. I'm going to die." This was Wang Zhong's first thought. However, his instinct made him circulate the unstoppable decay divine art. This divine art was like a built-in engine, constantly operating. After an unknown period of time, Wang Zhong opened his eyes in puzzlement. He thought to himself, "I should be about to die, right? Since I'm already dead, why isn't there a notification from the system that I failed the mission?" With this thought, he looked around his body. He was actually still in the cauldron. His originally melted skin and flesh had actually recovered. Moreover, it was even tougher than before. The bones that were smashed by the dentist had mostly recovered. On the contrary, Almost all the medicinal liquid in the cauldron had been absorbed by him. Boom, boom, boom. The flame was still burning, and Wang Zhong's heart was getting hotter and hotter. The flame was obviously tempering his body. I understand. The unstoppable decay divine art is indeed magical. Not only can it strengthen my body when I'm injured, but it can also strengthen my body when I'm injured. In just a short while, his limbs were broken, his internal organs were smashed, and then he was burned by the fire and scalded by the medicinal liquid. No matter what kind of injury it was, he would definitely die. However, because of these injuries, he had obtained an unprecedented improvement. His body was completely restored under the transformation of the unstoppable decay divine art. Moreover, originally recovery required a lot of strength, but the medicinal liquid around his body had become the source of his recovery. Not only did he recover, but he also became stronger. At this moment, Wang Zhong didn't know how long had passed, but it was all right. He lay comfortably in the cauldron and continued to let the fire and medicine temper his body. Right now he was no longer a martial soldier, but a terrifying martial master. Unfortunately, Wang Zhong didn't know that. He only felt very comfortable. He was comfortable. The dentist outside was a little puzzled. Strange, why is the medicinal fragrance getting weaker and weaker? Could it be that something went wrong during my refining process? But that's impossible. I've refined this human pill more than 100 times. The success rate has long reached 100%. How can I still fail? Shaking his head, he was a little unwilling. He added another pile of medicinal ingredients into the cauldron. Finally, he increased the flame. As an alchemist, he cultivated a fire elemental cultivation technique. Once he activated his cultivation technique, flames shot out from his palm. Wang Zhong groaned and felt that it was even hotter. However, his strength was also rapidly increasing as he activated it. This feeling was really good. One day and one night passed. The dentist outside had already let the fire slowly simmer, and he went to rest. Wang Zhong, who was in the cauldron, felt that his body was no longer an ordinary body. It was a treasured weapon. An indestructible treasured weapon. Not only did he absorb all the medicinal effects, but he also absorbed the power of the fire. Clenching his fist, he felt that he had endless strength. However, perhaps because his body was too tough, his strength couldn't be seen from the outside. Because his body isolated this strength to outsiders, he looked like a kid in the martial disciple realm. I'll continue to cultivate and see if the dentist has anything good for me. If there's nothing else, it won't be too late to come out. Wang Zhong made up his mind and cultivated in peace. Chapter 797. Early in the morning, Wang Zhong felt that the temperature of the flames around him was much higher. He understood that the dentist was here to refine medicine again. Although the dentist was cruel and merciless, he was still very professional when it came to refining medicine. Now, although the temperature of the flames was very high, Wang Zhong did not feel any discomfort at all. After adapting to it for a while, the energy once again became his. His strength soared once again. At the same time, Wang Zhong felt that a spinning bean appeared in his stomach. This was the legendary dantian. All the energy quickly merged into it. He felt that the energy here was very strong, to the point that it was unimaginable. Wang Zhong licked his dry lips. When he returned to the Su family this time, even Su Can, Su Ziqian, and the others might not be his match. The stronger Wang Zhong became, the stranger the dentist outside became. Strange, the smell of the medicine has become faint again. I have already added so many ingredients. The dentist, who was very familiar with refining medicine, knew very well that when the medicine was about to be formed, the smell would be very delicious. Especially when the air was filled with the smell of the medicine. But now there was nothing. He decided to open the lid. After all, he had already invested a lot of resources. There was no need to wait any longer. When the lid was opened, he saw Wang Zhong sitting cross-legged in the medicine cauldron. His body was naked, as if he was already dead, not moving at all. However, his body was as if it was carved out of jade. It was crystal clear and emitted a different kind of luster. Why is the human pill different from the previous one? The dentist's heart skipped a beat. Then he was overjoyed. It was very simple. He suspected that he had refined something more powerful than the human pill. He was so happy that he couldn't wait to pull Wang Zhong out of the cage. But suddenly, Wang Zhong opened his eyes. What responded to the dentist was a heavy fist. The dentist was immersed in joy. He did not expect a fist to suddenly hit him. Bang! With just one punch, the dentist's eyes were all swollen. But luckily, he was an old monster who had lived for so many years. After being hit, he retreated. "You didn't die." After landing on the ground, the dentist's expression was complicated. "That's right. It's all thanks to you that I obtained such a great opportunity." Wang Zhong clenched his fists. The dentist who he thought was strong before looked so weak now. If he threw another 2 punches, he would probably be beaten to the point where even his parents wouldn't be able to recognize him. How did you become like this? Under my refinement, no one can survive. What is going on with you?" Wang Zhong shrugged and said, "I don't know about that, but thank you very much." "No, you must know. Tell me. Do you think I will? You're courting death." The dentist threw out another cloud of white mist. However, this time Wang Zhong did not dodge. The white mist seemed to have lost its effect in front of him and completely dissipated. Wang Zhong was not surprised by this. It was very simple. This kind of poison was also a kind of damage to him. No matter what kind of damage it was, as long as he continued to circulate the destruction and decay cultivation method, the damage would be negated. At the same time, his own strength was also rapidly increasing. Thud, thud, thud. At this moment, the dentist was really scared. In terms of strength, he was actually just a martial soldier. He was probably weaker than an ordinary martial soldier expert. The reason why he was able to make people tremble in fear was all because of his poison. Under his poison technique, basically people would be poisoned until they fainted. At that time, they would be at his mercy. However, Wang Zhong was not afraid of his poison. "Who are you? Why is my poison not working on you?" Wang Zhong stretched his waist and his bones cracked. Then he stared at the dentist like lightning. "Even if I tell you, you won't understand. Be a good person in your next life." At this moment, Wang Zhong seemed to have a sudden burst of energy under his feet. His whole body bounced up. He quickly rushed in front of the dentist. His palm became a blade and chopped down violently. The dentist took out a treasure sword and quickly blocked it. A shocking scene appeared. When the treasure sword touched Wang Zhong's body, it actually broke. Now, Wang Zhong's body was even harder than the treasure sword. The dentist was stunned. Even though he was a veteran of hundreds of battles and had experienced countless battles, he simply didn't know how to defend against a freak like Wang Zhong. After a while, Wang Zhong's fist came and punched the dentist to the ground. Bang! The dentist's head caved in. He couldn't be more dead. Wang Zhong took a deep breath. The dentist was dead. After calming down, Wang Zhong felt that he was lucky to be able to survive this time. Fortunately, he had practiced the destruction skill. Otherwise, he would have restarted the game. He searched the dentist's body twice and only found a few hundred taels of silver. It was really shabby. As for the medicine, there were many bottles and jars. Each bottle was marked with the use of the bottle. After checking, he put away these things and walked around the house. Just as he had guessed, he found several corpses on the side, as well as some people who were captured alive. These people were quite lucky. They were actually still alive. After releasing them, Wang Zhong left and went to the city. It was almost dawn. In the mansion of the county magistrate in the city, an old magistrate was being served by a maid. Because the maidservant was a bit slow, Magistrate Lu snorted coldly and kicked her to the ground. You don't know anything. Don't you know that the dentist is coming today? If you make me late, I'll make you into a human pill. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. The maid knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Father, why isn't the dentist here yet? I still want to learn from him. I want to be as powerful as him. A young man ran in and said excitedly, Don't worry, the dentist said that he will come today. He will extend my life and help you achieve great success. We will also benefit. That's good. As the two of them were talking, a discordant voice sounded. No need to wait for him. The person who spoke was naturally Wang Zhong. At the door, Wang Zhong slowly walked into the house. Who are you? Guards, where are the guards? The young man shouted at the door. There's no need to shout. I've taken care of them. Wang Zhong shrugged and continued. Today I'm here to get rid of evil for the people. After all, the dentist was only able to do as he pleased because of the magistrate's support. Without him, the dentist wouldn't have been able to do what he did. Therefore, after knowing about this, Wang Zhong came over to get rid of this evil for the sake of the people. Warrior, please spare my life. The young man was very careful. He knelt down and pointed at the old man in the house. It was all my father's doing. Has nothing to do with me. You unfilial son. Wang Zhong shook his head. You're all going to die. With that, he raised his hand and chopped down. This unscrupulous county magistrate was completely dead. Wang Zhong didn't return to the Su family. Although with his current strength, he could definitely kill 3 people in the Su family, there was no need for that. Su Ken was already in the Force sect. If he killed him, Su Ziqian would suffer even more. Other than that, the most important thing was to find Su Liying's whereabouts. After more than a month, Wang Zhong finally arrived at the imperial capital, an extremely prosperous city. Looking around, Wang Zhong sighed with emotion. The towering city gate, which was dozens of feet high, and the towering city tower. Once upon a time there was also a city tower like this. That place was my world. But now it was better to look for her peacefully. Speaking of which, the missions in this life were indeed a little strange. Moreover, they seemed to follow a certain path, which puzzled Wang Zhong. It was very easy to enter the city. He only needed to pay a small amount of silver to enter. After that, he stayed here and inquired about the Tianshan sect. After asking around, Wang Zhong finally understood what had happened to the Tianshan sect. It turned out that the Tianshan sect used to be very powerful, but because they offended the imperial family, the entire sect was eradicated. Now the original site was a ruin. As for the disciples inside, fortunately, the people who were chasing after them said that as long as they surrendered, they would let bygones be bygones. Therefore, many disciples surrendered. As for the holy maiden, Su Liying, she had gone missing. Afterwards, there were indeed many people looking for Su Liying. Even the current crown prince put out a bounty to find traces of Su Liying. He also said that he would not harm Su Liying and would even make her a concubine. From some of the rumors, Wang Zhong roughly understood what was going on. The reason why the crown prince wanted to deal with the Tianshan sect was most likely because of Su Liying. At the same time, there should be some hidden secrets. With his current status, he could not come into contact with these secrets. However, there was one thing that Wang Zhong was sure of, and that was that Su Liying was definitely fine. If something had happened to Su Liying, the crown prince would not have given out the order to search for her. Following this, Wang Zhong stayed here for more than a month. He learned about many things in the city, as well as the distribution of the large factions. There were many large sects around the imperial capital. However, in terms of power, the imperial capital was naturally the most powerful. No matter how powerful the nearby sects were, they could only submit to the imperial capital. During this time, Wang Zhong heard that a sect similar to the Cloud Sky sect, the Qingwen sect, was recruiting disciples. The Qingwen sect is very powerful and is no weaker than the Cloud Sky sect. If I can find evidence of the Cloud Sky sect's destruction through them, I might be able to find evidence. With this idea in mind, Wang Zhong decided to participate in the Qingwen sect's recruitment. On this day, after Wang Zhong packed up his belongings, he arrived at the Qingwen sect. He had arrived quite early, but there were even more people here. Wang Zhong found a line with fewer people. Among so many people, his presence was a bit out of place. It was very simple. He looked a lot older, and many of the people around him looked a few years younger than him. Wang Zhong also noticed that the people here were all wearing expensive clothes. It was obvious that they had high status in the secular world. Wang Zhong couldn't help but sigh. The Qingwen sect was indeed a large sect. It was said that unless the disciples of ordinary families were very talented, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to enter the Qingwen sect. Wang Zhong quickly went through the recruitment process. The process was very simple. He just had to fill in his name, where he came from, and how old he was. Apart from this, he also had to pay a large amount of fees. In a sense, this fee was to eliminate most of the people who didn't have the strength. In this world, talent was important, but similarly, background was also very important. For example, if two people had similar talent, the son of a rich man and the son of a poor man, then the rich man's son would definitely become a genius. This was because he had innumerable wealth to throw away and innumerable natural treasures to use. In the end, the rich man's son would win at the starting line and leave the poor man's son further and further behind. Luckily, Wang Zhong had obtained a lot of money before coming here, so after paying the fee, he followed a group of people in. At this moment, Wang Zhong and a group of people who were participating in the recruitment meet came to a training field in the Qingwen sect. The field was very big and spacious, enough for the newcomers to stand. Wang Zhong roughly estimated that there were about 10,000 people here, and the elders of the Qingwen sect were standing on a high platform not far away, observing these people. Suddenly, an old man with a white beard flew down and slowly landed. He looked in Wang Zhong's direction and scanned the entire field with a spirited gaze. Wang Zhong could tell that this old man was probably the person in charge of this recruitment. Those who already have a cultivation base, take 10 steps forward. As soon as these words were spoken, more than 9,000 people walked forward. Immediately after, the old man shouted again with full energy, "Those who have elders at the martial disciple realm or above, take 10 steps forward." If there were experts in the family, it meant that most of the children had strength. This was also a good way to eliminate people. However, in Wang Zhong's opinion, there might be a lack of geniuses. But to the Qingwen sect, it didn't matter. To the Qingwen sect, they had never lacked geniuses. Then, the old man listed out the conditions. For example, those who were over 22 years old would leave automatically. Those who didn't improve within a year would leave automatically. Of course, there were also many people who stayed because they wanted to get lucky. Therefore, after a series of explanations, more than half of the people were persuaded to leave. The remaining people were basically able to cultivate. However, there were still too many people. No matter how strong the Qingwen sect was, it was impossible for them to recruit so many people for no reason. To these large sects, no matter how many people there were, they might not be as useful as a genius. The right choice was to give priority to the few people at the top of the pyramid. The old man looked at the remaining people and felt that there were too many people. He needed to eliminate more people this year. It was obviously unrealistic to let them compete one by one. After all, there were so many people and it would take too much time. Therefore, he continued, "Those who are over 20 years old leave." Those who were over 20 years old were already lacking in talent. Therefore, after weighing the pros and cons, he decided to abandon this group of people. As soon as the old man finished speaking, the crowd became noisy. It was very simple. There were many people over 20 years old, making up half of the people here. According to the previous rules, so many people were allowed to enter the Qingwen sect. But now they were being chased away. Wang Zhong's face also darkened because he was over 20 years old. You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.